The story begins with the guy's name being Yi Hong, and he was now 16 years old and entered high school, and he is a loser. And when Yi Hong didn't get into the best school in the country, his parents paid a lot of money to send their son to this private school. The coach asked the student who was behind to run faster, and he was behind everyone else, and he needed to develop skills to keep up. But at that moment, Yi Hong almost collided with a student who was also running there, and he almost collided with her while running on the track. The student's name was Jang Shu, and she was the idol of their class and Yi Hong's neighbor on the map, and she was such a sweet and beautiful student of the class. Yi Hong thought that he was Jang Shu's classmate and she could show more interest in him because he really likes Jang. Yi Hong thought that he felt bad and could no longer run, but he didn't want to give up and realized that he had to try now in front of Jang. But suddenly at that moment the creature said that the target had been found and immediately collided with Yi Hong and said that there was a connection with their carrier. The creature said that the divine enhancement system had already been successfully attached to Yi Hong, and he fell on the treadmill and he was shocked. Yi Hong couldn't understand who said it just now and what kind of power this is and where it came from in front of him and how he can use the power. Jang Shu was terrified and ran to Yi Hong and asked what happened to him and if he was okay and why he fell now, and was worried. Yi Hong told Jang Shu that she really didn't understand what happened to her friend, and he felt very bad and he fell and didn't understand how he suffered there. Yi Hong asked Jang Shu to kiss him quickly so that he would feel better and then he would be so healthy and would no longer be sick. It was all Yi Hong's dream, and he was now sitting in the classroom next to his beloved Jang Shu, and she was in shock and didn't know what he was doing there. But at that very second the teacher threw the book right at Yi Hong's head and she asked him not to be distracted by anything else except her lesson there. Yi Hong immediately got up from his seat and told the teacher that he was listening to her and that she wanted to ask him and he was ready to answer anything. The teacher asked Yi Hong to wake up and stop sleeping during her lesson and thought that student Yi had the nerve to sleep during her lessons. The teacher asked Yi Hong to translate it and said that if he couldn't do it now, he would rewrite it 100 times, and she was serious. Yi Hong thought that his spring dream was coming to an end, and did the teacher really have problems and why did she want to make his life difficult? The student thought that Yi Hong doesn't understand anything and how will he translate this, and he deserves it because he doesn't take care of himself and is already sleeping in class. Yi Hong went to the board and thought that he needed to try his best to translate these words, otherwise he would be in complete trouble. Yi Hong only imagined the book of heaven and he didn't know what to do, and if he didn't translate the words the teacher would immediately punish him seriously. Yi Hong thought that he should forget about it and just rewrite it all 100 times and it would be extremely difficult, but he himself was already ready. But suddenly at that very second the system reported that Yi Hong received 1 point for viewing English words and knowing the English language. The system reported that Yi Hong has improved his knowledge of English and his current progress is 1 out of 10 and the student's level is elementary. The teacher asked student Yi Hong what he was doing and asked him not to waste their time just like that if he couldn't translate all these words. And then Yi Hong turned around and noticed the system behind him and thought what it was and where it came from behind him, and he doesn't know it. The students asked Yi Hong to rewrite the words 100 times and not waste their time, because all the students came there to study and not wait for him. Yi Hong looked at the system and the students asked how he could die to be rude to the teacher, and it looks like the student Yi Hong has gone crazy and he is to blame. Yi Hong continued to receive points for speaking English, and Yi Hong thought that these words, and did he really receive some kind of gift today? And after a couple of seconds, Yi Hong's knowledge of English was already at the 11th level and he could not understand why he was getting all the points. And then Yi Hong said that he knew everything and began to translate all the words, and he was no longer afraid that he would not be able to translate all the easy words there. The students couldn't understand how Yi Hong translates all the words because they can't do it either, and it's incredible and they all want it too. Yi Hong told the teacher that the ending in the sentence should now be replaced with the past tense and then it will definitely be correct. Yi Hong said that even if it is a simple topic, the teacher should no longer make such mistakes because the students may not understand the essence of her words. The teacher was shocked and told Yi Hong that what he told her was exactly 100% true and he could return to school and they would continue the lesson. Yi Hong listened to the words of his colleagues and they asked how this was possible because Yi Hong is the most backward student in the class, and he is right. Yi Hong returned to his seat and realized that he had done an excellent job with the teacher's task, and she thought that he was stupid, but she was very mistaken. Yi Hong wondered what it was, and was it really some kind of system that just told him the answers? This is what was in his dream and it's so cool. And then Yi Hong noticed that Jang Shu handed him a piece of paper and he wondered what she could write to him because she didn't want to communicate with him. Zhang Shui smiled at Yi Hong's face and he thought that it looked like she wanted to ask him something and he was wondering why he attracted the lady. Yi Hong took the piece of paper and noticed that Zhang Shui said that after school they were going home together and she wanted to ask him something. Yi Hong thought that Zhang Shui ignored him yesterday and today she is already trying to attract his attention and he will show her arrogance. Yi Hong immediately stood up and showed the teacher a piece of paper and said that he had to tell her something and it was important and she should listen. Zhang Shui was shocked and Yi Hong told the teacher that she was passing notes to him and he believed that it distracted him from his studies and interfered. The teacher immediately grabbed the note from Yi Hong's hand and asked her to let her see what student Zhang Shui wrote there during her lesson. Zhang Shui asked the teacher not to listen to student Yi and he is just saying nonsense and wants to set her up and how dare he do this. The teacher was furious and wondered if this student had fallen in love with Yi Hong and that he allowed himself to do this because it was very arrogant of him. The teacher squeezed the paper in her hand and told Yi Hong that Zhang Shui, as his colleague, cares about him and wants to do good, and it's all so sweet. The teacher told Yi Hong that he should work with Zhang Shui after school and let Shui help him with his studies and that's all that's important. Zhang Shui looked at Yi Hong with a grin and he realized that he was out of luck and how could the teacher not react to this note. And after a couple of minutes the lesson ended and a guy approached the students and told the brats that he wanted to ask all of them something there now. The guy told the students that if they see Yi Hong they should greet him just like that and then he will be pleased. But the students refused to do this and said that Yi Hong is a completely different person, not the same as before, and he has changed and is no longer annoying. The guy told the students that he understood them and then he himself would teach Yi Hong a lesson during physical education and he would regret that he even came there. Yi Hong was lying next to a tree at this time and the system gave him a point for work and rest, and his current progress in the skill was initial. Yi Hong wondered if the system really works even if he had already closed his eyes and it would be great to just lie around and earn money like a boss. And then a student began to approach Yi Hong and he did not see who was coming to him and thought that it looked like some kind of student was coming now. But Yi Hong felt a pleasant aroma and realized who it was and Zhang Shui was definitely coming to him and it looked like she wanted to ask him something now. Yi Hong asked Zhang Shui why she approached him and what she wanted to ask him and he was ready to answer all her questions about her studies. Zhang Shui asked Yi Hong if he was hiding there to sleep and wasn't afraid that she would inform the physics teacher about it and he would punish him there. Yi Hong told Zhang Shui that the most beautiful girl in the class is not the kind of person who can ruin his reputation in the hearts of the students. The guy was very angry and thought how this pig Yi Hong could stand next to the most beautiful girl in the class and that he allows. The guy swung the basketball and thought that he had a brilliant plan and would save Zhang Shui from the loser. The guy threw the basketball as hard as he could at Yi Hong and thought that he would make this scoundrel feel pain and he deserved it. The ball began to fly towards Yi Hong and the guy thought that now he would definitely punish Yi Hong because he would not be able to escape anywhere from being hit. The ball continued to fly towards Yi Hong and he turned around and was surprised because he didn't know who could have thrown the ball at him and how this person dared to do it. Yi Hong covered Zhang Shui with himself and asked her to be careful, and immediately Yi Hong received a point from the system for his reaction and the level was low. Yi Hong hit the ball and returned it and received a point from the system for his punch and power fist skill was at the beginner level now. Yi Hong looked to the side and realized that Qin Long had thrown the ball at them and he realized that this guy should answer him for his impudent act. Yi Hong asked Qin Long if he did this on purpose and how could he do this to his colleagues and Qin is a weakling and a liar. Zhang Shui asked Yi Hong if he was okay because his whole arm was covered in bruises and she would go to the first aid station to get some green stuff and it would help her friend. Qin Long stood in disbelief and Yi Hong told Zhang Shui that it was just an abrasion and she should not worry and everything was fine with him. Qin Long asked Yi Hong to watch his words and said that this ball just slipped out of his hands and flew towards him and he didn't want to. Zhang Shui asked Qin Long to apologize to Yi Hong because he suffered there because of him and why is he silent and laughing back at them. Qin Long said that he didn't do it on purpose and why should he ask for forgiveness from him and they can play with Yi Hong and then he will apologize. Yi Hong told Qin Long that he would play him and thought that it was not his fault that Qin Long wanted to disgrace himself and he was always at their service. Zhang Shuai thought that everyone knows that Qin Long himself is an incredible basketball player and no one wants to be his opponent in this game. The students asked their friends if they had heard that Yi Hong wants to play basketball with Qin Long now and they should take a look at this game of theirs. The coach whistled and told the students that the game had begun and they must play honestly without breaking the rules and respecting each other during the game. Qin Long told Yi Hong that this time he must win Zhang Shui's heart there and he loves her very much and she will definitely be his wife. Yi Hong thought that with Qin Long's height, it would be difficult for him to fight him one-on-one and he must find tactics to win their game. The student invited his friend to argue who would win and it is obvious that Qin Long will win now and even their school team came to the master. A friend told the student that this is a game of an athlete versus a beginner and everyone already knows who will win and it is useless for them to argue about it with their friend. Zhang Shuai cheered for her friend Yi Hong and shouted that she could defeat Qin Long now and he should not be afraid of his opponent in the game. Yi Hong thought that after the lesson he threw stones to conduct an experiment and already understood the structure of this system and even its meaning. Yi Hong realized that the number of experience points between 1 and 10 is the initial level, and between 11 and 100 is already the master level in the skill. And once the master level is reached, the skill level is comparable to that of a professional and he will reach the highest level in his skills. Yi Hong realized that as a result, his throwing ability had already reached the level of a master and he could compete with any experienced player. The system informed Yi Hong that the target was detected for throwing the ball into the ring and the master level has been launched and he will be able to hit the target. And at that very second, Yi Hong turned around and Qin Long didn't understand why he did it and he doesn't yet understand his opponent Hong's plan. And then Yi Hong threw the ball into the hoop while standing backwards and the system told him that it takes into account the mass of the thrown ball and the strength of the wind in the hall. And at that very second, Yi Hong was able to hit the ball into the basket and none of the students believed that he could defeat such a master as Qin. The students couldn't understand what just happened and did Yi Hong really throw the ball over his back and asked again maybe they were all wrong. Qin Long thought that this was incredible and Yi Hong must be very lucky there because he had never played basketball well in the gym. Yi Hong asked Qin Long what happened and it was just one hit and he was already so scared and why is he afraid of his friend Yi. Qin Long asked Yi Hong not to be too happy and this was the first and last time he touched the ball and now he will lose. Qin Long told Yi Hong that now it was his turn to attack and he himself had to defend himself and it was difficult because he himself was a very experienced player. Qin Long was angry and thought that maybe Yi Hong was lucky, but this would not help him and he would still lose because he was the master of this game. Qin Long told Yi Hong that he will prove to everyone that he is just a boring slacker who knows nothing about basketball and is just lucky. Yi Hong thought, does Qin Long think that he can throw the ball into the basket so easily and he is very mistaken and this is a fact. The system reported that a sense of awareness was detected and an increase in leg strength and the ability to quickly react in this game of theirs was triggered. Qin Long jumped up and told Yi Hong that he should look at his magnificent playing style and no one could play like him. But at that moment, Yi Hong quickly ran to Qin Long and knocked the ball out of his hands and thought that now he could easily defend against attacks. The student said that Yi Hong blocked Qin Long's throw and he moved so fast and everyone didn't notice his interception in this situation. Zhang Shuai said that she has always believed in Yi Hong and her friend can always bring surprises and surprise all people and this is talent. Qin Long was depressed and wondered if Yi Hong really blocked his throw and that means that he lost to him and he doesn't believe in all this. Yi Hong asked Qin Long why he lost heart and it's too early for him to give up and they still continue to play with him and that's not all. Qin Long looked at Yi Hong and was surprised and thought why he went so far and what his main rival wants to do and this is not good. Yi Hong said that he was so tired and at first he planned to just play there with Qin Long, but somehow he was already too bored from their game. People thought, does Yi Hong really want to throw the ball from a very long distance into almost the entire hall and this is simply impossible and fantastic? Yi Hong threw the ball and told everyone that he would end the game with Qin Long with one hit and he no longer wanted to delay the enemy's loss. And suddenly at that moment Yi Hong was able to hit the ball basket and people realized that he was a talent and not many masters could play there like that. Qin Long fell to his knees and asked how this was even possible and how Yi Hong could improve his basketball skills so much. The students said that Yi Hong is so strong and cool and they ask him to become their coach and they want to become his students and he is a master. Zhang Shuwei thought that all the students are hypocrites and how can they already love Yi Hong so much, and this is just terrible, and she wants to beat them all. Yi Hong upgraded all his skills and thought that with such a system he could do whatever he wanted and no one could stop him. Yi Hong looked to the side and thought where Qin Long was and how quickly he left from there, and he wants to ask him questions to find out his opinion. Qin Long hid behind the wall and thought what a shame this is, and he will never apologize to Yi Hong and he will never wait. After class, all the students went outside, but Yi Hong and Zhang Shuwei both stayed in the classroom and many students began to go home to rest. Yi Hong was sitting in class and then Zhang Shuwei approached her and he asked her what she was doing and why she sat down next to him and what she wanted. Zhang Shuwei asked Yi Hong what he wants her to do, and he wants her to leave and not communicate with him anymore, and this is her guess. Zhang Shuwei told Yi that he hides his feelings deep inside and pretends that he doesn't understand anything and wants to deceive her, and this is strange. Yi Hong listened to her words and Zhang Shuwei told him that he was already putting her in an awkward position and he could say anything. Yi Hong asked Zhang Shuwei for forgiveness and said that he will no longer hide his feelings and he will say whatever he thinks. Zhang Shuwei stood up and told Yi Hong that they had forgotten, and if he had not hit the ball flying at her, she would not have cared about him, and he is a liar. Zhang Shuwei told Yi Hong that he should not tell anyone what happened now, otherwise he will regret it, and began to take the scissors. Zhang Shuwei started to leave the class and Yi Hong thought that this lady is so formidable and he should be careful with her, and she is a dangerous lady. Afterwards, Yi Hong went into the cafe and told the cooks that he had returned and was very hungry and wanted to have lunch and then get on with his business. The woman shouted at the man and said that he was stubborn and why did he pour so much salt, and these were dishes for guests, and what did he do? The man asked the woman if she didn't tell him that now he needed salt and why she didn't remember what she told him then. The woman said that she chose a smart man, and the man told her that he was clearly blind when he chose such an old woman as his wife. The woman beat him and asked how he dared to call her an old woman, and if he called her that again he would definitely not stay alive with her. Yi Hong looked at them and thought that today it was noisy as usual and he was used to them always quarreling with each other and how to change this for him. The guy asked why the food is so tasteless and does this cafe really want to close forever and don't try to cook tasty food for guests. The woman was angry and told the guy to be silent, and doesn't he see that she is busy or also wants to deal with the old woman right now. Yi Hong told his mother that everything was fine and asked her not to be angry, and she looked like a little fairy there, and his father said nonsense and lied to her. Yi Hong told his mother that she is just an ideal mother, kind and very beautiful, and what may not be attractive about her and does not know her shortcomings. The man immediately overturned the table and told the guys that they could all come in there and he had one task for them, and this was an important matter. The guys went into a cafe and asked the boss what the orders would be, and they were all ready to carry out everything he ordered and had great respect for their boss. The man told his people that he didn't like this cafe and he ordered them to quickly destroy everything there so that they would know that he was serious. Yi Hong told his mother that this was bad and it looked like they had encountered very bad people and should fight back because they would destroy everything there. Yi Hong's father approached the man and told his brother that if he had something to say, he could just tell him and there was no need to destroy the cafe. Yi Hong's father told the man that he had prepared another portion for the guest for free and asked if he agreed to such conditions in the case. The man grabbed the bottle and asked the cook if he was now offering him another portion, and that's all he was offering him now. Suddenly the man hit the cook on the head with a bottle and said that he wanted to beat him with that bowl of noodles and he got it for that food. The cook fell to the floor and Yi Hong asked his father what happened to him and how he was feeling, and his mother was also worried about her husband. Yi Hong realized that these people would be troublesome and he needed to try his best to defeat them because there are a lot of scoundrels. Yi Hong quickly grabbed a cleaver and ran towards the man from this gang and thought that he would answer for all his actions, and what did he do? Yi Hong continued to run to the gang leader and wanted to deal with him so that he would ask for forgiveness from his family for the entire pogrom of their cafe. The system reported that the leg strength was increased and Yi Hong told his uncle that their family opened a noodle shop and he disturbed their peace with friends. Yi Hong told the man that if he calmly eats the noodles, then he will be happy to welcome them to the cafe and will not interfere with their business. But Yi Hong told the man that he would not stand aside if his family had problems and would punish every offender. The man asked Yi Hong not to be nervous and sit down calmly and thought what kind of guy this is and why is he such a fast and dexterous person. Yi Hong asked the man if he wanted to continue the scandal or would he rather order a new portion of noodles and they would settle their entire conflict. The man agreed with Yi Hong and said that he would happily eat another portion of noodles and he really enjoyed eating at their family cafe. And then the man ordered his men to drop their weapons and not move without his permission and stop looking angrily at the good man Yi Hong. Yi Hong asked the guests to sit down and wait a couple of minutes and said that he would prepare a dish for them but they needed to wait a little in their cafe. Yi Hong went to the kitchen and the system told him that he received a point for cutting ingredients and cooking ability and he was making progress. Yi Hong thought that there is no ability that this system cannot improve and he likes that he develops all his skills. Yi Hong continued to cook and gained experience for it and realized that at this rate he would quickly rise to a new level in cooking. Yi Hong cut the meat quickly and accurately and realized that he already felt like he was getting better and he was lucky that he had a good system. And after a couple of minutes the dish was ready and Yi Hong raised the level to 11 and the level was upgraded to master and it was cool. The guy approached the boss and asked his brother why he did everything that this guy wanted and obeyed all his orders and did not beat the guy. The man told his friend that Yi Hong is like a newborn calf and he is not afraid of the tiger and that is why he could not do anything at that moment. The man told his friend that when he says that the food is disgusting, they should start trashing this establishment and then he will be happy. And then Yi Hong approached him and told his uncle that his noodles were ready and wished him bon appetit and hoped that the dish would be delicious. The man looked at the dish and thought that as soon as he told everyone that the food was not tasty, his people would immediately begin to destroy the establishment. The man thought that first he needed to at least try the dish and then they could punish the guy for all the tasteless dishes in their cafe. But suddenly the man said that he didn't believe in it and this was the most delicious beef he had ever tasted, but he had never eaten food like this. The man continued to eat the noodles and said that it was very tasty and he looked like he would ask Yi Hong for more because he was happy with the food in their cafe. The man said that the texture of the dish is so soft and it can be confused with the body of young girls and how can the dish be so delicious. The man tore his clothes and said that he couldn't stop thinking about this dish and he wanted to eat noodles every minute of his life. The man finished his dish in a second and, lifting the bowl, asked Yi Hong for more and said that this was incredible and he was no longer angry. Yi Hong brought the man a refill and said that this is his dish and the guest can enjoy it and they are always happy to fulfill his request. The father asked Yi Hong's mother if he was really not sleeping and the guest was happily eating their son's noodles and even asked for more and how all this was possible. Mom was also shocked and asked her husband if this was really her son and how he learned to cook so deliciously and this is a secret for his family. Yi Hong told his mother that she was so happy for her son and said that the soy sauce had run out and he would go and buy more and bring it to the cafe. Yi Hong was walking on the street and realized that his parents did not expect that their son could surprise a guest and cook a delicious dish and he himself was surprised. But at that moment, Yi Hong heard that someone was calling for help and asked non-stop to help her, but no one heard her there except him. The guys pressed the girl and she asked to help her and today there was a sale in her store and the boss asked to stay there until late. The girl thought that she had already guessed what these people wanted to do to her and she hoped that someone could help her in this situation. The bully asked the girl not to misunderstand them and his brother just wants to invite her for a cup of tea and treat her and he is a very kind brother. The guy told the girl that they are decent and honest people and they want such a beautiful girl to go and walk with them there. But then Yi Hong approached them and asked all the hooligans to stop pestering the girl and leave, otherwise they would regret disobeying him. The bully asked his friends who this is and why this guy is pretending to be a hero to save the beautiful princess and take her away to his palace. Yi Hong told the bullies that they are right and he is there to save her and advises them to leave from there otherwise they will all definitely be in trouble. The girl thought that Yi Hong does not seem strong and if he wants to appear brave, he should use his brains and outwit everyone. The bully asked Yi Hong who would have thought that besides the fact that he is small, he would be so brave and this is worthy of the respect of his friends. But another bully told Yi Hong that they would teach him not to disturb the elders and it was better for him to immediately leave on business and not try to save. The bully asked his friends to catch the insolent person and they would quickly teach him good manners and he would respect adults and not disturb them. Yi Hong noticed a stone on the ground and took it out and thought that this should be enough to deal with the bullies and teach them a lesson. Yi Hong threw this stone directly at the bully and thought that it seems that he was not taught manners as a child and that's why he wants to attack him. Yi Hong hit the bully in the face with a stone and the system told him that it was a direct hit and he has improved his throwing skills and he is good. The bully started holding his eye and ordered his friends to grab this insolent person quickly, and it seems he pierced his eye and he is already in a lot of pain. A friend told his brother that they would quickly catch the insolent man and he would regret throwing a stone at their brother and would beg for mercy and cry there. Yi Hong told the hooligans that they should try his stones and he hoped that they would like everything and be delighted with the stones. And immediately after these words, Yi Hong threw stones at these guys and realized that now they would act wisely and not attack a person. The hooligans started shouting at the whole area and asked Yi Hong to stop throwing stones, and they realized their mistake and will change these days. All the hooligans were lying on the ground and Yi Hong realized that thanks to a better system, he could give equal rebuff to many hooligans and villains. The girl looked at all this and thought, what just happened, and this guy looks thin and weak, but he just defeated the hooligans. Yi Hong received 5 points from the system for the heroic rescue of the beauty there, and he showed courage and was not afraid of all the evil guys. Yi Hong looked at the girl and thought that she was such a beautiful lady and was almost desecrated by 3 goats, and it's good he was there next to her. Yi Hong walked up to the girl and extended his hand to her and asked if she was okay and could get up and walk after being attacked by these hooligans. The girl looked at Yi Hong and thought, what a charming guy, and it's good that he passed by and helped her in a difficult moment of her life. The girl stood up and told Yi Hong that she was fine and he shouldn't be nervous because now all the bad things were behind him and no one would harm her. Yi Hong thought that the girl's hand is so slippery and it looks like peeled eggs, and he has never held such a soft girl's hand. The girl said thank you to Yi Hong for helping her, because if it weren't for him, the hooligans could have harmed her and she would not have been able to defend herself. The girl asked Yi Hong what he would do with the hooligans, and he could call the police and they could arrest them all and put them in prison. Yi Hong told the girl that calling the police was useless and they would all just stay under arrest for a couple of days and then continue with all this. The hooligans were lying on the ground and suffering, and Yi Hong asked the girl to leave them to him and he himself would quickly deal with everyone and punish them. The bully told Yi Hong not to come near him, and if he did anything to them they would go to the police and he would be immediately arrested for all this damage. The girl told Master Yi Hong that he was too kind and maybe he should call the police first before all the hooligans did. Yi Hong approached the guys and told them to listen to his words and said that if he sees them again in these places where they attacked him there. Yi Hong threw a stone at the wall and told the hooligans that then problems would await them and they would definitely not be able to escape anywhere and he would find. Yi Hong broke through the wall by throwing a stone at it, and all the hooligans saw this and were shocked and realized that they should not joke with a dangerous guy. The bully told Yi Hong that he promises him that they will never appear there again and he can be calm and not be nervous anymore. Yi Hong told the hooligans that they should never offend this girl, otherwise they would understand what he could do with their lives. The bullies were horrified and told Yi Hong that they understood him and they promised that they will behave and they have learned their lesson and everyone will leave. All the hooligans quickly ran away from there and Yi Hong looked at the time and he said that this was bad and the supermarket had already closed and there was no sauce in the cafe. Yi Hong said goodbye to the girl and said that they would see her later and wished her good luck and she wouldn't have to worry about everything anymore. The girl asked Yi Hong to wait and said that he didn't tell her his name and how could she find him if she didn't even know his name. And then the girl noticed that Yi Hong had dropped some piece of paper and she realized that it looked like it was an important document and she had to return it. But looking at the document, the girl found out that Yi Hong is a student of Ji-Dai High School and now he cannot escape from the girl's hands and he got caught. At midnight, Yi Hong lay on the bed and thought why this system chose him if he was a simple student and what attracted him to his system. And then Yi Hong realized that he forgot to ask the beauty's contact information and he doesn't even know her name and now it's midnight and it's so annoying. Yi Hong realized that he had made a mistake and could no longer correct it and asked the system to open the properties panel and he would find out the result. Yi Hong realized that after reaching the master level, his ability to develop slows down and is no longer the same as at the beginning of development. Yi Hong realized that looking through the textbooks of the first year of high school is no longer effective and he needs to go to the library at school tomorrow. Yi Hong heard the sounds of his neighbors and thought that all these old people were so loud and they annoyed him and prevented him from understanding all the information. And at that very second, Yi Hong received a point for eavesdropping, and this skill could also be developed for him starting from the initial level. Yi Hong thought that this was very disturbing to him and that he would soon move out of this place and no longer listen to the conversations of the old people there. Yi Hong shouted to the whole house and said that he wanted to leave and asked all the people to stop disturbing him because it was already midnight and he was preparing his homework. In the morning, Yi Hong came to school and thought that last night at home his parents did not let him sleep well and that's why he was so angry. Qin Fei walked into the classroom and the students said that they had been waiting for him all day, but it felt like an eternity and they loved him. The students asked Qin Fei if he was cold and they had chicken soup for him and asked him to evaluate their new skirt and he was so handsome. Qin Fei told everyone that it was too noisy there and he didn't rest and he didn't have time to play with them and asked them to free him from everything. Jang Shu was waiting for Yi Hong at that time and was wondering why he still hadn't appeared in class and she wanted to talk to him and was waiting for him there. Jang Shu thought, where is Yi Hong, and maybe she went too far and scared him yesterday and should not have behaved so impudently with her friend. Qin Fei was Qin Long's brother and thought who Jang Shu was waiting for and maybe she fell in love and this is his chance to approach her and ask her. Qin Fei thought that he had only been gone for a day, but she had already managed to find a new goal for herself and is that really why his brother didn't come to school anymore? Qin Fei decided that if he finds someone who wants to date the most beautiful girl in the class there, he will destroy him and is not joking at all. And at that very second Yi Hong came into the room and thought that today he had no energy to study at all and he should rest and gain strength. Yi Hong thought that if he went to class early, he would have time to take a nap and then he would be a happy guy. And then Jang Shu came up to him and told Yi Hong that she brought him an apple and, as her mother says, an apple a day and no illnesses. Yi Hong thought it was very nice of Jang Shu and he respects it because she pays attention to him and cares about her friend now. But suddenly at that moment Yi Hong said thank you to Jang Shu and immediately fell on the desk and she did not understand what happened and was surprised. Jang Shu first wanted to yell at Yi Hong and ask what kind of attitude this is and why he doesn't appreciate the care of a loved one. But Jang Shu calmed down and thought maybe Yi Hong studied all night, otherwise it would be impossible to learn English properly. Qin Fei thought that the beauty ended up with an insignificant worm and Yi is from a simple family and does not know English at all and he is a scoundrel. Qin Fei thought that even Yi Hong's presence in the class was unnoticeable, and then a beautiful student entered the class and all the students looked at her. The students thought, isn't this third-year president Li Mia and what is she doing there and maybe she wants to meet Qin Fei now. The students asked what Li Mia forgot and did she really want to take Qin Fei away from them and they would push the lady out of their class together. Qin Fei wondered if Li Mia really wants to meet him and if she really wants to take the initiative into her own hands and win such a handsome man. Qin Fei thought that he had no idea that he was so attracted to beautiful girls and he was glad that they wanted to date him now. But suddenly Li Mia asked Qin Fei to move out of her way because he was blocking her path and he was shocked by her words and it was so painful. Li Mia looked at Yi Hong and thought that it would be cool now for her to also lie down on the bed and sleep because she also didn't get enough sleep like her friend. Jang Shu was perplexed when she saw Li Mia in class and wondered if she had really come to Yi Hong and what did this girl need from her friend. Jang Shu told Li Mia that this is her classmate and he is resting and she is sure that Yi Hong does not want to be disturbed by a stranger. Li Mia asked Jang Shu who she is and why she can't see and talk to Yi Hong now because she wants to tell her something. Jang Shu told Li Mia that she personally tutors Yi Hong in some subjects so she always helps him and this is true. Li Mia told Jang Shu that she is really helping Yi Hong and that means that she is not his girlfriend but she behaves exactly like that and she is right. Jang Shu told Li Mia that sleep is also part of learning and she, as an old woman, should not leave their class because she is already tired of them. Li Mia was angry and asked Jang Shu who she called the old woman and what she allows herself and thinks that she will just look there. The students were shocked and thought, aren't they one of the cutest and most beautiful girls in their school and are they really quarreling over Yi Hong? The students turned around and said that the most beautiful ladies in class were fighting over a guy and this guy Hong was just sleeping and it was so strange. Li Mia told Jang Shu that she had no time to quarrel with her and said that Yi Hong dropped his card last night and asked her to give. Jang Shu was surprised and asked Li Mia how Yi Hong himself could have dropped his ID card last night and where he was at night. Li Mia told Jang Shu that she and Yi Hong were there together last night and he was very nice and she will never forget about her friend. Jang Shu thought that Yi Hong is not like that and Li Mia is definitely lying and she just wants her to be jealous of him, but Mia doesn't know her character. Li Mia began to leave the class and thought that Jang Shu was so helpless and vulnerable and believed everything that all people told her. The students wondered if they were both Yi Hong girls and beauties no longer looking at other guys and how Hong could take all the beauties away. And at that time the bell rang and the lesson began and the teacher entered their class and asked all the students to sit down and they would begin their lesson. The teacher asked the students to open the book to page 12 and today they are studying the function and they must know because it is important. Yi Hong at this time continued to sleep soundly and snored while sleeping and didn't even hear the teacher's words and wanted to take a break from all the problems. Jang Shu looked at Yi Hong and thought that he snores so cutely and she had not noticed before how sweet and kind her friend is. Qin Fei thought what was going on and why Yi Hong's stupid storage made Jang Shu smile and it was not cute but disgusting. And then Qin Fei got up and asked the teacher for forgiveness and wanted to tell him something and the teacher asked the student Qin Fei what was the matter. Qin Fei told teacher Yang that Yi Hong sleeps throughout the lesson and this greatly distracts him from class and interferes with his studies and he wants to interfere with Yi. Teacher Yang asked student Jang Shu to wake up her deskmate so that they could continue their lesson and not be distracted. Jang Shu asked Yi Hong to wake up and said that teacher Yang found out that he was sleeping during class and soon he could punish her friend. Qin Fei told teacher Yang that Yi Hong does not take his entire subject seriously and this is not only distracting him but also Jang Shu. But Jang Shu told teacher Yang that Yi Hong doesn't interfere with her in any way and Qin Fei made it all up, but she doesn't understand why he's doing this. Qin Fei told teacher Yang that he proposed to transfer student Jang Shu from student Yi Hong and then he would not be able to disturb her there. Teacher Yang asked all the students to be quiet and they disrupt his lesson and do not want him to explain a new topic to them all to study. But suddenly at that very second the teacher threw his honey right at Yi Hong's head and told him not to sleep anymore because they were studying an important topic. Yi Hong told teacher Yang that he didn't scare him and asked him to keep his voice down otherwise he would have a heart attack and what did he ask? Yi Hong answered teacher Yang's questions and the students thought that Yi Hong was as good at math as he was at English and that was incredible. Teacher Yang asked Yi Hong to take his studies seriously so that he would no longer be seen sleeping in class and this makes their teacher so angry. Yi Hong thought it was funny but he had learned all the material from this semester's lessons and still had to listen to the lesson in class now. And at that very second, Yi Hong fell asleep again and Qin Fei was furious with the behavior of the arrogant student and why should teachers forgive him. Qin Fei thought, is Yi Hong really on good terms with all the teachers and that's why no one wants to punish him for all his impudence? And suddenly Qin Fei stood up from his seat and walked up to Yi Hong and grabbed his tie and pulled him towards him and wanted to teach him a lesson now. Qin Fei asked the little bastard if he really didn't hear all his words and told him to get out of his place and he should be the one sitting there. Jang Shu was nervous and asked Qin Fei to stop doing bad things to Yi Hong and why does he want conflict with his colleague. Qin Fei raised Yi Hong and said that from this day on, he must recognize his status himself and understand that he is no match for him and is a weakling in the class. Yi Hong asked Qin Fei to let him go and he was very calm and told him that if he didn't let him go, he would greatly regret all this. But Qin Fei was very angry and told Yi Hong that he would not let him go and he could do whatever he wanted, but he would not let him go until he beat him. Yi Hong told Qin Fei that he would tell him this again and ordered him to let him go and the system reported that he had already improved the methods of suggestion. And then it seemed to Qin Fei that he had grabbed his father and he could not understand why his father was in front of him and not the scoundrel student. Qin Fei called Yi Hong his father and said that he does not know what happened to him and asks for forgiveness for his arrogant behavior in their class. And at that same moment, Qin Fei released Yi Hong and silence fell in the class and all the students did not understand why Qin called Yi his father there. Yi Hong smiled and said that he would not like to have a son like Qin Fei and he would punish his son for such arrogant behavior. All the students started laughing at Qin Fei and thought that he seemed to have gone crazy and dreamed that he was fighting with his father. Qin Fei realized that his father's recent reprimand had now provoked hallucinations in class and did not understand how this could happen to him. But Teacher Yang intervened in their conflict and hit the table with all his might and asked all the students to stop fighting in the classroom. The teacher told Qin Fei and Yi Hong that they should sit down, and if they did not do so, he would quickly call the school principal into the classroom. Qin Fei didn't want to sit down, but he realized that if he didn't do this, Teacher Yang would definitely punish him, and this was pointless and he had to sit down. Teacher Yang told the students who were fighting that since they had a lot of energy they would answer the questions and then he would be happy with them. Teacher Yang said that these were assignments for the district competition in his subject mathematics and they could represent their school in the competition. Teacher Yang told the students that if they solved the problem, he would forget about their conflict and would not mention it to anyone in the world again. But if they cannot solve the task, he will write a complaint against them and their parents will have to come to school and they will even be expelled from there. Yi Hong realized that things were bad and his dad and mom spent almost all their savings to enroll in this school and rely on their son to study. Yi Hong promised the family not to get involved in problems and they need to sort everything out quickly, and the teacher said that their deadline is only a day and that's all. Qin Fei also listened to the teacher and Yang said that in tomorrow's math lesson they should already have all the answers, and he's not joking now. Yi Hong thought that he had never even seen questions on the subject of trigonometry, and the simplest questions were about 10 lines long. Yi Hong asked the system how much experience would be required to solve these problems and it accepted the request and began processing and analyzing the data. And then the system informed Yi Hong that with the current progress, at least 81 experience points are needed to solve this problem. Yi Hong thought that all the books of the first semester in mathematics had already been studied by him and, apparently, repetition would not add points to him. Yi Hong remembered that in the entrance tests, Qin Fei's level was not much higher than his and they already had almost equal results. Yi Hong looked at Qin Fei and thought that this was strange, and why was he so confident that he could solve all this and whether he had enough intelligence and skills. Yi Hong was thinking and wanted to come up with a plan to quickly solve all these problems, but then student Jang Shu called him and wanted to say. Zhang Shu asked Yi Hong if she could help him solve all these issues, and if it was difficult for him, he could count on her there. But Yi Hong told Zhang Shu that she also looks down on him and this issue does not bother him too much and he can resolve the issues. Qin Fei at this time went out into the corridor with questions and realized that he had a brilliant plan and he had to find the person he needed. The student noticed Qin Fei in the corridor and tried to run away from him so that he would not come up to him and start asking questions, and he is cunning. But Qin Fei caught up with the student and asked why he was trying to run away from him, because he wouldn't eat him and he shouldn't be nervous about this matter. The guy asked Qin Fei's brother what he wanted from him and he was in a hurry there and therefore wanted to know what he wanted from him and whether it was important. Qin Fei told Zhao Bu that he is a very smart student and he wants to ask him for something and hopes that he can help him with the matter. Qin Fei threw a paper with questions at Zhao Bu and told him to solve it all by tomorrow, otherwise he would break his legs, and asked if he understood. Zhao Bu fell to the floor and told brother Qin Fei that of course he would answer all his questions and the tasks would be ready today, and he promised. Qin Fei thought that Zhao Bu was good at mathematics and last year he went to the Olympiad from their school, so he is able to solve everything. Qin Fei thought and realized that Yi Hong could not defeat him and he would lose as always and he would remain a weakling and a nobody in their class. But Qin Fei looked out the window and noticed Zhang Shu and thought what she was doing there and why she didn't go home, and it was all strange to him. Qin Fei was surprised and wondered if Zhang Shu was going to Zhao Bu for help and wanted to help Yi Hong defeat him in resolving their issues. Qin Fei thought that Zhang Shu was a traitor and he needed to return to Zhao Bu and talk to him first and settle all the nuances of their case. Yi Hong came to the library at that time and thought that he should find interesting and useful books there to solve all the tasks. Yi Hong thought that this is exactly what he expected from a decent school, and there are a huge number of books and he can study any of them. Yi Hong thought that he should master them in one day so that Yang would not write a report on him to the director and he could be expelled from school. Yi Hong was walking in the library and wanted to quickly find the necessary books and all the mathematical aids for the Olympiad, and maybe they are there. And then suddenly Yi Hong was surprised and thought that he never expected to see a girl there instead of books, and who she was and why she was standing there. The girl was changing clothes and also silently looked at Yi Hong, and she also did not understand who this guy was and what he needed, and she already needed to ask. The girl was furious and asked Yi Hong who he was and why he was looking at her and how he wasn't ashamed and what he allowed himself to do there. The girl threw a book at Yi Hong and told him to go away, and she no longer wants to communicate with the stranger, and why does he continue to stand there? Yi Hong asked the girl for forgiveness and said that he didn't do it on purpose and he didn't peek and was just looking for books necessary for his development. The girl told Yi Hong that she would not repeat it again and he should have understood her words the first time and why he froze there. And suddenly at that very second the girl hit Yi Hong hard in the face and said that the scoundrel deserved it because he didn't want to leave there. Yi Hong asked the girl for forgiveness and said that he would never look at girls again and would not go to this side of the library. The girl said that the library is currently closed to regular students, and does he know that he is breaking school rules and that's bad? Yi Hong told Sister Jichi that he had an urgent need to read a couple of books there and his further studies there depended on it. Yi Hong asked Sister Ziki to take pity on him and let him stay there for a while now and he will just read books and this is the truth. The girl was surprised and asked Yi Hong if he really knew her name and how did he know it, because she saw him for the first time at school and he was impudent. The guy told Jichi that his name is Yi Hong and he is a first year and he saw her on his first visit to the library and has remembered her since then. Ziki told Yi Hong that then he could read there, but he didn't say a word to anyone about what he saw, otherwise he would have problems, and that's for sure. Yi Hong said thank you so much to Sister Ziki and this will definitely remain a secret forever and no one will know what he recently saw in person. Yi Hong thought that he didn't know that Sister Ziki was wearing such underwear, but it doesn't matter and he needs to take care of his affairs and resolve issues. And then the system informed Yi Hong that he received a point for the fact that he is now focused on reading and concentration and the level is still beginner. Yi Hong realized that the higher the concentration, the better the result, which makes him less tired and this skill can be developed for him. At this time, the students were discussing whether they had heard that this morning Li Mia and Jang Shu almost fought over Yi Hong and she found out about it. A friend asked the student how Yi Hong won two beauties by forcing them to fight for him and is he really that handsome? Jang Shu thought that these students were gossiping all day because the teacher assigned less homework and now they have nothing to do. Zhang Shui approached Zhao Bu and asked him to borrow a math notebook and she would return it to him soon and she needed to solve one question. Zhao Bu agreed with Zhang Shui and asked her to wait a little and said that now he would bring the notebook and he would not mind helping her. Qin Fei stood there and wondered why things weren't going as expected in the beginning and why Zhang Shui wanted to help that scoundrel Yi Hong. Qin Fei wondered if it was true that Yi Hong wanted to reread all the material for the next course and wasn't this all too honest? And at that moment, Qin Fei grabbed the notebook from Zhao Bu's hands and thought that in any case this should not happen and he would interfere with everyone. Qin Fei asked Zhao Bu on which page of the answer to the questions and he must know this otherwise the student will have problems from his fist. Zhao Bu was very afraid and told Qin Fei that the answers to the questions were already on pages 30 and 42 and he was able to solve all the tasks. And suddenly Qin Fei began to tear up the answer sheets and thought that Yi Hong was not worthy of these answers and he himself must solve his task. Qin Fei told Zhao Bu that now he can give the notebook to Zhang Shui but must remember and not say a word about it to the students. Zhao Bu told Zhang Shui that here are the math notes as she wanted and now she can study and he is happy to help his friend. Zhang Shui was very happy and told Zhao Bu thank you for always helping her and she will never forget how he helped her now. Zhang Shui thought that she knew Yi Hong's grades in mathematics and therefore wanted to help him with his assignments and he would cope with all this. At this time, Yi Hong thought that he did not expect that he would stay in the library late and read books for so many hours on end. Yi Hong saw people on the way and didn't understand why there were so many people on the streets today and maybe they were celebrating some kind of holiday together. People were saying, did someone make Elon's sidekick angry again? But he doesn't understand why this person made him angry again because he's dangerous? A friend said that maybe it was when our people had problems at this night shopping bar and now they went to take revenge and it's scary. Yi Hong listened to all this and wondered if they were talking about his house and what happened while he was away and he should find out all the information. Yi Hong asked Uncle Go if something really happened to his family and he wants to hear all the nuances and understand what they are talking about there now. Uncle Go asked Yi Hong to listen to him and not go home for now and it would be better to stay there with them and it could be dangerous for him too. Yi Hong immediately ran home and realized that things were bad and his system reported that he received a point for breathing exercises. The system informed Yi Hong that he received a point for running at maximum speed and for his ability to cover short distances now. The man at that time asked Yi Hong's father what was wrong with him, and he brought his boss there, and he said that there would be no noodles with beef for them. Yi Hong's father told them that he really apologizes and now he will explain to them why he cannot cook this dish, and it is true. Yi Hong's father said that in fact only their son cooks beef noodles and asked if they could order another dish at their cafe. But at that moment the boss hit the table and told the cook that it looks like he's lying to them and just doesn't want to cook this dish and is angry with all of them. The boss told the chefs that they were idiots, and did they understand that only an experienced chef could cook such a dish, and, moreover, the son. The boss told Yi Hong's family that if they don't make her these beef noodles, they can forget about their business forever, and she's not kidding. The boss's people told Yi Hong's family that it was true and they would not leave this cafe until they had eaten the beef noodles, and they were waiting for their dish. And then Yi Hong came to the cafe and realized that it was good that he managed to run to their cafe, and now he would solve this problem and find out all this. Mom grabbed Yi Hong and told her son that it's good that he's back now and now he can save his family from all the hooligans. The father told his dear friends that their son had returned and would now quickly prepare everything for them so that they would be satisfied with the service of their cafe. The boss asked her people if this kid really makes excellent noodles, and she wants to make sure that he is not lying and can prove it to everyone. Yi Hong asked the boss what would happen if he didn't know how to cook noodles and what it could do to him, and he was very interested in finding out all this. Mom asked her dear son not to be rude to their guests and he should not communicate with them like that, and the father also asked for forgiveness from all his guests. The man asked the boy to watch his behavior, and their boss is already rewarding them with his patronage, and maybe he wants to go to the hospital. But suddenly the boss told everyone that they should shut up and everyone should listen to her words and think about what they should do there. The boss asked brother Yi Hong not to listen to them, and yesterday she ate the noodles that they brought her and now she has no appetite to eat something else. The boss told Yi Hong that his big sister was hungry and wouldn't he take pity and prepare his beef noodles especially for her? Mom started carrying Yi Hong with her and said that they should go to the kitchen with him to cook noodles and they should please the guests. But Yi Hong broke away from his mother's arms and said that he would not cook noodles now, and he had to say something to the boss so that she would understand them. The boss was surprised and asked her brother what this meant and why he didn't want to cook noodles for his beloved sister, because she wanted. Yi Hong said that he has problems with another person and needs to do his homework before cooking and is not in the mood yet. The people told the boss that they couldn't stand it anymore, and in their entire lives they had never seen such arrogant punks, and they would all show him a lesson. But the boss asked her people to be quiet, and he was horrified and realized that he should no longer say such things about brother Yi Hong there. The parents were very happy and told God that their son loved his studies, and they couldn't believe it all because it was just fantastic. And 10 minutes later, Yi Hong realized that the difficulty level of all these Olympiad questions was very low and it was easy for him to solve. The boss asked her brother if he was feeling better and if his brother could start cooking food for her, and she was waiting for him all this time in their hall. Yi Hong told the boss that he is now in a good mood and now he can go to the kitchen and cook noodles for his sister boss. Yi Hong went to the kitchen and received a point from the system for preparing identical food, and he can develop all his culinary skills. Yi Hong realized that now he can add something unusual to this dish to make it even tastier, and the boss will be happy there. And after a couple of minutes, Yi Hong began to go into the hall and bring the dish to his guest and hoped that the boss would like everything and she would be delighted. Yi Hong asked the boss to excuse him for the long wait, and here are her hot noodles and she should be careful and enjoy your meal. The boss told Yi Hong that the smell of his dish is simply gorgeous and she wants to quickly try his dish and evaluate its taste first. But as soon as the boss wanted to try the dish, Yi Hong took the bowl from her and said that she should wait 1 minute and not rush. Yi Hong told the boss that her people guarding the entrance are scaring away all visitors and he doesn't like it at all and she should fix it. The boss realized that Yi Hong is right and her people are preventing her from trying the dish and they must leave this place so that Yi Hong is happy with everything. The boss shouted to her people and told them to get out of there and not disturb Yi Hong anymore because he always helps her with all their affairs. The boss asked brother Yi Hong if she could now eat his noodles without any problems because she had been waiting for him for so long and was so hungry. Yi Hong told the boss that of course she can eat the noodles slowly and he is glad that they have such a nice customer and he is happy to cook the dishes. The boss began to try the dish and wanted to enjoy the taste because she knows that no dish can compare with his noodles and it's incredible. But the boss was surprised and asked Yi Hong why his noodles were sweet, and it seems that now the dish has a completely different taste and definitely changed something. Yi Hong told the boss that the taste of the dish is different because he added peony petals to the bottom and now the dish has improved and he hopes so. Yi Hong said that he added the pork along with it, put some salt and sugar in it and added it on low heat on his stove. Yi Hong said that the sweetness of the petals permeated the meat while cooking it, and at maximum heat he added a little liquor to his dish. Yi Hong told the boss that this method not only helps to convey the smell of peony, but also softens the pork by soaking it in the juices of the peony flour. The boss said that every time she chews this meat, the wonderful taste of peony spreads in her mouth and she is amazed by this dish. The boss told Yi Hong that it is incredibly tasty and warmth spreads throughout the body and fills the heart, and this is an incredible feeling now. The boss thought that this is not exactly what she was looking for, and this dish has such a feminine taste and she likes it so much and she has never eaten. The boss told Yi Hong that it was amazing and now she will only eat his dish every day because she won't be able to find it anywhere else. The boss said what a pleasure it was, and she had not tasted such delicious noodles for a long time and did not expect that he could cook a miracle. The boss handed Yi Hong a piece of paper and said that this was her business card and he could contact her at any time and she would help him with everything. Yi Hong found out that this was in Chio's workshop and the main activity was restoring physical strength and fine-tuning all parts of the body. The boss asked her brother if he could become a chef at her hotel and the river would pay him $30,000, and this is not a joke. The boss told Yi Hong that this was 100 times higher than his current salary and asked if they could discuss it with him and agree on their opinion. The parents said that their son can work as a chef in a hotel and such a chance comes only once in a lifetime and their son should consider. But Yi Hong told the boss that he would refuse to work as a chef at the hotel and his main goal now is to study, so he asked her to understand him. The boss told Yi Hong that she understood him and her sister would come to their cafe every day to eat the chef's signature dish. The next day, Yi Hong came to school and teacher Yang said that the day had come to an end and he was waiting for their answers and really hoped for success. Jang Shu thought that she herself would be able to answer after reading the notes, but who knew that the answers would disappear from the notebook. Teacher Yang said that Qin Fei's answers have logic and the steps of thinking are clear. The solution is indeed classic, but there are no mistakes at all. Teacher Yang asked Yi Hong what this means, and the standard answer to this question should contain at least 10 steps, and this is nonsense. The student said that Yi Hong is so arrogant and he must have learned a lot of their books and now they will teach him how to solve everything. Yi Hong told teacher Yang that he would know everything when he opened the notebook and he should not jump to conclusions and should study it all. Teacher Yang began to study the answers to Yi Hong's questions and thought that he never expected that this student could solve all their tasks like that. Teacher Yang asked Yi Hong where he got such talent because he wasn't that smart in the entrance exams and how he developed so much. Yi Hong told teacher Yang that he saw no point in thinking during the tests and wrote the first thing that came to mind and realized that the system helped. Teacher Yang told Yi Hong that this is incredible and all the answers are correct and he can participate in the Olympiad and even qualify for their prize. Qin Fei was very angry and said that it was impossible and asked Yi Hong who did the work for him and where he got such cool answers from. Yi Hong asked Qin Fei if he really thinks that no one knows that he got his task completed by someone else and deceived everyone. Qin Fei admitted that he asked Zhao Bu to do the work for him and the notes that Zhang Shu took were checked by him and he did not answer. Zhang Shu told Qin Fei that he was a shameless impudent person and how could he deceive all the teachers and students and entrust the task to be completed. Yi Hong asked what if he said that he already had enough knowledge from the high school course to solve all the tasks in this mathematics. Qin Fei asked Yi Hong what he meant and if he decided everything only according to the school curriculum, then there was only one solution. But teacher Yang said that Yi Hong solved the problems using 10 methods, 3 from the school program and 7 from the university program. Qin Fei sat on the floor and told everyone that this is simply impossible and how Yi Hong was able to solve all the answers to the questions and he does not believe in all this. Teacher Yang told Qin Fei that if he did not solve all the problems himself, he should copy them all into his notebook in one day and their deadline. Qin Fei was shocked and thought, does he really have to rewrite all this 100 times and how is this possible and he doesn't understand how to rewrite it? Teacher Yang told Qin Fei that next month he will already represent their school at the Olympiad since he imagines himself to be a genius there. Yi Hong was pleased and told Teacher Yang that he could finally get some sleep and he needed it so much and he was so tired these days. Jang Shu wondered if Yi Hong really wants to sleep again and what does this guy do at home every night and why is he always tired in the morning. Jang Shu couldn't understand how Yi Hong can study so well when he sleeps in almost every lesson and when her friend succeeds. Yi Hong thought that he should learn the recipe for a new dish because he taught his family how to cook beef noodles and now they know. And then suddenly Yi Hong noticed that a whole line had gathered next to their cafe and he wondered if they had gathered for what he thought. The students asked Yi Hong's mother not to bring them ordinary beef noodles and they came to taste the noodles from their master and they are delicious. Mom was shocked and told people that such a dish would only be available on weekends so they could go home and her son was at school. Mom hugged Yi Hong and told her son that his noodles were so delicious that customers didn't want to eat their noodles and demanded noodles from Master Hong's hands. Father told Yi Hong that if this continues, they will have to close on weekdays and no one will buy their dishes in the cafe. Yi Hong asked the family how about coming up with a new dish that they could cook on their own without their son. But Mom hit Yi Hong on the head and said that coming up with a new dish is not so easy and it will take a lot of time and effort and it is difficult. But Yi Hong told his mother that they won't know the result if they don't try to come up with a new dish and this is their chance for success in business. Yi Hong said thank you to Uncle Dong for lending him his car for shopping and he asked the guy to be careful on the road now. 20 minutes later, Yi Hong arrived at the market and received a point from his system for driving a grocery cart and it was so cool. Yi Hong thought that first he should buy rice and now he will help his family with business and they will have better profits. Grandfather was walking at the market with grandfather and she told grandfather that there were so many people at the market and they all wanted to buy food for the home. The grandfather told his granddaughter Syra that she was right and there were a lot of people there and he asked her therefore not to go far from him and to always be on the alert. Yi Hong bought groceries and realized that the system is indeed very convenient and doing something is more enjoyable when he knows about the progress and he is happy with it. But suddenly Yi Hong heard the girl calling her granddaughter Sarah and he looked to the side and wanted to know what was happening there and why she was screaming. Grandfather said that some robber kidnapped her granddaughter Sarah and he asked people to help him and he fell and now he can't get up. Grandfather asked someone to help him and he cannot lose Sarah and he loves her very much and what bastard stole her and how he escaped from there. Yi Hong thought, is it really a kidnapper and he hates all such people and the destruction of all other people's families and lives is a mortal sin. Yi Hong thought that the system should help him find the robber and he should study the information and understand how he can find the thief. Yi Hong received a point from the system for the ability to delve into sounds and the current progress was already at the 11th level and he was developing. Yi Hong remembered the robber and how he took Sarah and realized that now this man would not be able to escape from him and he would catch the villain. Yi Hong realized that he had found it and it was not in vain that his parents tortured him there for so many nights and thanks to them he developed his skills and experience perfectly. Yi Hong asked his grandfather to look after his goods and he would quickly help him find his granddaughter and he should not be nervous about this matter. Yi Hong began to quickly run from there and received a bonus from the system for the flexibility of his body and thought that people were stopping him from passing and catching up with them. Yi Hong continued to receive points from the system for his ability to quickly dodge and for running a short distance, and this was a nice bonus. Yi Hong saw the kidnappers on the street and thought that everything was bad and they might be a gang of human traffickers and they wanted to sell Sarah there. The bandits quickly pressed the gas pedal with all their might and began to leave from there and thought that now no one would be able to catch up with them and their friend. Yi Hong noticed that the bandits were leaving and thought that he should catch up with them because otherwise he would no longer be able to find them and this is definitely a problem. Yi Hong got into his car and quickly began to chase after the thieves and thought that they would not be able to escape and he would catch up and punish them all. Yi Hong continued driving and received a point from the system for steering the three-wheeled cart steadily and was at skill level 10. The bandit told the boss that a kid on his three-wheeled bike was chasing them and could they be afraid of him and could he catch up with them now? The boss asked his friend how this guy could be following them on this piece of junk and he should forget about him and continue south. Yi Hong thought that this jalopy would never catch up with all these people and he should come up with a new plan to catch up with them now. Yi Hong thought that if he stopped chasing the thieves, the old man would definitely never see his granddaughter, and he wanted to save her now. And at that very second, Yi Hong gained the skill to control his three-wheeled bike steadily and improved his driving skill, which is cool. Yi Hong thought that he had a strange feeling as if he and this great man had already become one, and for some reason he now believed in his success. Yi Hong thought that Ser should be patient for a while and soon he will definitely come for her and save her and punish those people who stole her. The bandit told the boss that this can't happen and that damn idiot of theirs is still chasing them, and how can they get away from the fool. Yi Hong told the scoundrels that they should stop driving and then he will talk to them, otherwise he will punish them severely and they will be hurt. Yi Hong continued to ride fast on the old bike and realized that his system helped him again, and now he became much faster in riding. The thief did not understand what was happening, and this guy is not in a racing car and how he still continues to chase them on his bike. The boss asked his colleague to hurry up and get rid of this guy, and he no longer wants him to interfere with their brilliant plan. But at that moment the thieves' motorcycle ran over a stone and they realized that they weren't watching the road at all and this guy was constantly distracting them. The bandits lost their balance and began to fall to the ground and realized that they had made a mistake and why his colleague did not drive the bike there smoothly. Yi Hong saw that the bandits had lost their balance and realized that this was his chance and he had to catch up with them, and it looks like the system wants to help him. Yi Hong began to maneuver on his bike and realized that now he would perform one trick there and surprise the bandits and they would suffer from it. Yi Hong jumped on his bike and the bandits realized that this guy drives a bike very well and how could he jump so high, and that's cool. And at that moment Yi Hong crashed straight into the bandits on his bike and they were in a lot of pain and they didn't expect him to do this, and he's cunning. Ser screamed and Yi Hong thought that he should catch her so that she would not get hurt and he would not allow this to happen and would save his granddaughter from falling. Yi Hong managed to catch the girl Ser and thought that now the thieves will know what pain is and he will try to severely punish them all there. Yi Hong received a point from the system for body injury and a very correct fall and body recovery and stability, and he was happy about everything. Yi Hong asked the girl not to be afraid and said that her brother came there to save her and now she cannot be afraid of all the bad people. The girl told Yi Hong that Ser is not afraid and Ser is very brave and she can put pressure on anyone and will protect her brother. The bandits were very angry and asked Yi Hong if he was really looking for death there and how he could attack them and if he wasn't afraid of enemies. The bandit told Yi Hong that they still wouldn't be able to get out of there and they would also kill him for preventing them from carrying out all their plans. Yi Hong asked Ser to hide behind him and she told her brother that she understood him and now she will hide and will not come out. Yi Hong realized that the bandit's hand was already close and the system reported that his initial concentration level and vigilance level had worked. Yi Hong realized that he has fast speed and can avoid all the attacks of the bandits and he likes it and will definitely protect his girlfriend. Yi Hong continued to defend himself from the bandits' blows and realized that if he did not strike back, they could deal with him so quickly. And at that very second, Yi Hong hit the bandit in the stomach and received a point from the system for boxing, and the bandit did not expect this blow now. The bandit's friend also couldn't believe that this guy was able to hit his boss and thought that now he would show him a master class in striking. And at that moment, Yi Hong kicked the bandit in the stomach and realized that they all underestimated his skills and thought that now they understood the skills. The bandits were lying on the ground and thought that they could not defeat this guy and did not know how to defend themselves and escape from this place. Yi Hong began to slowly approach the bandits and they were very afraid of him and asked what he wanted to do and would he really not forgive his brother. Yi Hong told the bandits that he wanted to teach them a lesson because they were harming the people around them and everyone would be better off without these people. Yi Hong quickly tied up the bandits and they told his brother that they had so much money and they would give it all to him and they could help him with his business. Yi Hong told Syra that he thought his cart was broken and he asked her how they would get back without any transport. Ser told brother Yi Hong that they could take this vehicle and pointed her finger at the bandits' motorcycle and realized that it was a cool bike. Yi Hong realized that Ser was right and told Sis that it was a good idea and they could take this transport to return to her grandfather. Yi Hong got on the bike and thought that it was a very powerful bike and he had wanted to ride one for a long time and now they would ride with it for a couple of hours. Yi Hong asked Ser to hug him tighter and said that he wanted to ride faster there and find out what such a motorcycle was capable of. And at that very second, Yi Hong left there with Ser and the bandits were lying there tied up and thought that they were in pain and asked to help them. People asked everyone to look and said that the kidnappers were returned there and they did not expect that this guy would be able to return the girl. People said that it seems these people were on a motorcycle and how did this guy manage to grab them, and the kid did a good job with them. Sayer started running to her grandfather and said that she missed him very much and thought that she would never be able to see him again, and she was glad. Grandfather hugged Sayer and said that he was also happy that his beloved granddaughter was returned to him and now they can return home and rest. Yi-hong thought that he was so glad that they were reunited and realized that the grandfather loves his granddaughter very much and Sayer is indeed a very good girl. Sayer told her grandfather that this older brother saved her and he is very cool and defeated 2 villains himself and it was very easy for him then. Grandfather began to look around and Sayer asked where her brother was and where he had gone because she wanted to talk to him and thank him for everything. And after a while, Yi-hong returned to the cafe and told his mother that he had gone grocery shopping and now they can come up with a new recipe for their dish. Mom was angry and asked the brat how long he needed to buy these unfortunate vegetables and she was worried about where he had gone. Yi-hong told his mom that there was a little trouble on the way and that's why he was delayed, and his mom noticed his torn t-shirt now. Mom was very surprised and asked Yi-hong how his shirt was torn and if he could explain to her what happened then. Yi-hong asked his mother if his shirt was torn due to a very sudden fall on the road because he did not expect to fall at that moment. Yi-hong thought, is this the effect of recovery from his beginner level and there are no wounds left and he doesn't feel pain and that's good. Yi-hong learned that within a week, due to the system update, dozens of skills were strengthened and had already changed for the better. Yi-hong remembered that the master's level is much higher than the usual level, but what if he upgrades the cooking level to this level, and this is important. Yi-hong thought it was very interesting and he is looking forward to the development of his cooking and thinks that there will be an excellent result. The next day, Yi-hong woke up early in the morning and he received improved sleep quality and energy from the system and he was cheerful in the morning. Yi-hong went to the kitchen and thought that first he should take out the glutinous rice flour, Japanese rice flour and sugar and start everything. And at that moment, Yi-hong learned from the system that he had activated his master culinary abilities and he could create anything in the kitchen. Yi-hong realized that then next he should add osmanthus and red beans to his dish and then he will improve the taste of the dish and find out this. Yi-hong was cooking in the kitchen with pleasure and realized that at this step you need to add about 300 milligrams of oxen and beat it quickly. Yi-hong realized that all this needs to be put in a double boiler and cooked for 20 minutes and then he will know the result of this experiment. A golden glow appeared and Yi-hong thought that everything seemed to work out and he should open the lid and he would recognize his masterpiece. His dish turned out great and Yi-hong guaranteed that not a single girl could resist trying this dish because the dish was beautiful. Yi-hong decided that he would call this cake the Spring Snow Star and thinks that this is a great name for a signature dessert and he is happy. And at that moment someone started calling Yi-hong and he thought that he himself had just freed himself and now someone on the street immediately needed him. Yi-hong really thought that someone was calling him and realized that he needed to take a look and find out what they wanted from him and why they didn't go into the house themselves. Yi-hong went outside and was in shock and so many people had gathered on the street and he didn't know what they needed and why they had been standing outside his house in the morning. Yi-hong thought that it was 7 in the morning and why a whole crowd had gathered near his house today and why they were all making a fuss there. The girl pointed her finger at Yi-hong and said that this is their favorite beef noodle chef and she is actually a thief. People told Yi-hong that being a thief at his age is shameful and how his parents raised him and didn't see that they were growing up an arrogant thief. Yi-hong asked Aunt Xiao not to accuse him of something he doesn't even know about and should explain all the information so that he understands everything. Aunt Xiao asked Yi-hong if she was just blaming him and then let him tell where old man Dong's cart went and where it was. Yi-hong thought that yesterday he came late and was focused on cooking and completely forgot to tell Dong about his cart and it was his mistake. Aunt Xiao asked if their great boss really had nothing to say and she asked him to immediately return what he stole from her and this is brazen. The man told Yi-hong that this cart is dear to Uncle Dong because he is attached to it and he must return the broken cart to his uncle. Yi-hong asked Uncle Dong for forgiveness and said that he could not return the cart to him, but he could buy a new one and if it suited his uncle. Aunt Xiao asked Yi-hong that if he wants to buy a new cart, he won't be able to do it because he is a poor student and she is definitely right. But suddenly Yi-hong's mother told Xiao Chunlan that she was crossing all boundaries and how dare she call his son a thief and she is lying now. People were angry and thought that it was terrible to do bad things at that age and he should return the carriage and they were tired of waiting for this. And then people said that someone's luxury car was going there now, and was it really possible that a celebrity visited them and there was even a new car there? People asked their friends to look at it and said that the silver car had an incredibly rare and expensive license plate and it was definitely 44s. People thought, isn't this the number of the owner of Psy Group? And he heard all this from friends, and they are very popular and they have a lot of money. But suddenly at this moment Psy Ray got out of the car and she said good morning to brother Yi Hong, and she was so happy to see her brother who had run away. Sae hugged brother Yi Hong tightly and said that they had met again just now and she thought that they would never see him again. Yi Hong asked Sae why she came there and maybe she needs something and he can help his best friend if she needs it so much. Sae told brother Yi Hong that she came there with her dad and grandpa and they want to talk to him today and ask him something. People said that Psy Jian is from Psy Group and they only saw him in the news, and this is one of the most prestigious companies in the world now. People wondered if they really came there for the noodles because they have so much money and can dine in the best restaurants in the world. The man told brother Yi that his grandfather had come a long way to thank him, and if it weren't for him, he wouldn't have seen Sae again yesterday. Yi Hong told his grandfather that he didn't do anything to inspire Mr. so much and he didn't have to thank him for what he did. Psy Jian told Yi Hong that he seemed to be in trouble because he noticed there that people were looking at him angrily and they were all very angry now. Yi Hong said that this is a long story and he doesn't have to worry about it and he will solve everything and people are just very bored in the morning. Psy Jian told Yi Hong that all people should not blame him but them and he should leave it to him to explain to people and solve everything. Psy Jian asked people to listen to him and they did not understand Yi Hong's situation much and they do not know what kind of person Hong really is. Psy Jian said that even among them there cannot be such a kind and brave person and young hero as Yi Hong, and what kind of thief is he? Psy Jian told people that he doesn't know if he read yesterday's news and then they should have known all the information about everything. Psy Jian told people that Hong saved his granddaughter and only then he responded and intercepted the thieves on the outskirts and accidentally broke the cart. Psy Jian showed the phone to people and said that Hong is very modest and did not tell anyone about this, so there was an omission today. People said that they remember that yesterday the country's security department released an article about this and that's what they're talking about and they're stupid. The article said that the student caught up with the robbers on the cart and Hong the hero and how they could mistake the hero for a thief and they are all very ashamed. And then people started clapping Yi Hong and realized that he was a real hero and if it weren't for him, the girl would have been stolen and no one could have saved her then. Yi Hong received a point from the system for praising and recognizing people for good deeds, and he wondered if the symbolism of the act was better. Xiao Chunlan told people that this story was a setup and maybe this grandfather was invited to perform there to save Hong from shame. But suddenly Uncle Dong slapped Xiao Chunlan in the face and said that she should stop talking nonsense and she was really pissing off all the people there. Xiao Chunlan asked Dong why he hit her and isn't he at all ashamed and doesn't he want to explain what he just did to the lady. Xiao Chunlan asked Dong how he dared to hit her because she did it all for the sake of his destroyed barbecue restaurant and he didn't understand. Xiao Chunlan told Dong that he was too generous and if he wanted Hong to borrow the cart, he should do it and look at the whole result. Sae's father thought that these people don't want to admit that they have such an acquaintance as Yi Hong who is ready to help anyone himself. And then his secretary approached Mr. Psy and said that she had delivered a cart there that he wanted to see and hoped that he was happy. The girl said that this is a three-wheeled Poseidon carriage recently developed by Psy Group and every detail of this model is according to their method. The girl said that they export such carts to different countries and its price in stores is $500,000. Xiao Chunlan was shocked to hear the girl's words and thought that she never expected that this cart could now cost $500,000. Mr. Psy told Xiao Chunlan that this cart belongs to them but he asked them not to attack his friend Yi Hong anymore and he is kind. Dong and Xiao Chunlan said thank you very much to Mr. Psy and they will not forget his kindness and will no longer attack his friend Hong. Yi Hong asked people for forgiveness for today's events and said that their store was closed for one day and let them come tomorrow. Yi Hong's mom said thank you to Mr. Psy for what he did for them today and Mr. said that's what he had to do. Yi Hong asked Grandpa and Uncle Psy to go to the cafe and he would treat them to his signature noodles and hope that they would all be happy. Mr. Psy told little Yi Hong that his store was very small and asked if he wanted to change the location for his greater profit. Yi Hong told Mr. Sai that this was a great plan and asked if he had any suggestions and was interested in listening to Mr. Sai's advice. Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that there is a store of their group in Donjiko and he can give this place to his friend little Yi Hong for his help. Yi Hong's mother was shocked and wondered if the place is in Donjiko and this is the most commercially successful corner of their country, and she is surprised. Yi Hong told Uncle Sai that he had solved his big problem and he had no reason to accept his offer and he was too kind. Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that he saved Ser and therefore from now on they are in great debt to him and wants them to get married in the future. Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that he would then pay for the store premises so he would not pay his rent for 50 years. But Yi Hong asked Uncle Sai if it would be better to respect his fate and let him choose his own future because Mr. is a very smart man. Grandfather Sai at this time began to hold his back and thought that he was in so much pain and he did not know what to do with this problem now. Yi Hong ran up to Sai's grandfather and asked him if he was okay and what happened to him and if he could explain what his problem was. Mr. Sai told Dad that he would help him and Grandpa told Hong that when he got sick his lower back was under high pressure. Grandfather said that, besides, yesterday's event left its mark there and it seems he should go to the doctor for a massage tomorrow. But Yi Hong asked his grandfather to wait a couple of minutes and said that he had one plan and it looked like he could help him with his problem. Yi Hong told Grandpa Sai that this confection has a great effect on blood pressure and brings it back to normal and he is not lying to them. The granddaughter told Yi Hong's brother that it smells delicious and Sai also wants to try it because she has never seen the same dessert. Grandfather Sai told Yi Hong that he ate a lot of dishes and this is the first food that can normalize blood pressure and it's all so interesting. Saira told brother Yi Hong that this dessert is so elastic and tender and she likes everything and brother is a real pastry chef and he makes his sister happy. Grandfather Sai was also surprised and asked how such a piece of jelly can be so soft and melting in the mouth and what is the secret recipe. Grandpa Sai was delighted and said that this dessert was so sweet and warm, like first love, and he had not felt such feelings for a long time. Grandfather Sai said that his back and lower back hurt terribly then, but now it's as if they were being massaged by the hands of a young gentle girl. Grandpa Sai told Yi Hong that his body was full of energy, as if he had become a teenager again and felt a surge of energy and strength in his body. Grandfather Sai asked Yi Hong what it is and it is more effective than therapeutic massage and he cannot understand how this is possible in life. Yi Hong told Grandpa Sai that this is his newly developed dish, Spring Snow Star, and this time he paid attention to the treatment. Yi Hong told Grandpa Sai that this dessert was good for the elderly body and he will give it to him and he can always come there. Sai's grandfather told Yi Hong that his family was even more in debt and if it weren't for his studies, he would have given him his subsidiary Sai. Yi Hong told Grandpa Sai that everything is fine and he has no and never will have any debt and he may never worry about this issue. Grandpa Sai said thank you to Yi Hong for the treat but they have to go and if he needs help he can always find him on Tongya Mountain. Yi Hong said goodbye to the Sai family and thought that they are all kind and serious people who are always ready to help all their friends. And then Yi Hong's mother received a message and he wondered if this was an invitation to a regional mathematics Olympiad for her son. Teacher Yang wrote to parents that tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning he is expecting all the contestants and asks parents to prepare their children. Mom was happy and told her son that she was proud of him and even he might not take first place, they would support him in everything. But Yi Hong told his mother that she need not be nervous and with all his knowledge in mathematics, he can take first place if it is important. On Monday morning, all the people began to gather at the Educational Association and wanted their children to win the Olympiad today. Many participants told their friends that they were so nervous and everyone advised them to calm down and breathe slowly and everything would be fine. People said that last year was unsuccessful and he would not allow it to happen again, and many were happy even with third place there. Teacher Yang called Yi Hong and was waiting for him there and the student thought why all the organizers are scheduling the Olympiad so early and this is wrong. Yi Hong thought that this was like a math Olympiad or he made a mistake there and this is a competition to see which of the people will get up first and win. Yi Hong said good morning to Teacher Yang and the system told the owner that she had read the thoughts of others and many were jealous of his knowledge. Teacher Yang said that everything was finally in place and asked to listen to all his instructions before entering, otherwise they would write everything bad. The students asked their friends who this vile boy was and his name was Yi Hong and they were wondering what his relationship was with Teacher Yang. The students didn't know what teacher Yang was thinking, but he gave the guy a place of honor next to him and thought that Yi Hong was a disgrace to the school. Yi Hong smiled at the students and asked if it was too early for them to talk about his shame and fate might make them both become a shame. The students were furious and asked Yi Hong who he was talking about, and he told them that he was only saying what he knew and this would definitely happen to them. The students asked Yi Hong what he didn't agree with because he was just another rogue who didn't know why he came there and what he wanted. But one of the students approached them and asked them to stop bullying the new member now and Hong could surprise and defeat. The guy told Yi Hong that he understands that he wants to take part, but this is the annual math Olympiad and there are so many geniuses there. The guy told Yi Hong that if he were him, he would go home now and go to bed before he became ashamed of announcing the results of their test. Yi Hong was surprised and asked the guy who he was and thought that this guy really likes to talk and thinks that he is smarter than everyone else. The students asked Yi Hong if he really doesn't know Su Qing's student and he's some kind of talented student and doesn't know such a student and it's a shame. The student said that Su Qing is a math genius and while already in high school, he was accepted into the University of Science and Technology at his age. The student said that Su Qing is the best mathematician in the area and has won Olympiads every year and he is undoubtedly the master of mathematics. Yi Hong said that what a pity it was and thought that it's good this year now he will participate in the Olympics and show everyone his class. Yi Hong told the students that he wants to take first place this year and knows that he will be able to do this and no one can match him. Su Qing said that fools who don't understand the absurdity of all their statements are really funny and he won't believe it all. And then, over a megaphone, they announced to the students that the exam would soon begin and they should go into the classroom in order and they were waiting for all of them there. The teacher said that the exam consists of 3 stages and the first stage is a functional test of medium complexity and the time for this is half an hour. Yi Hong thought that such problems were released by the math district and for an ordinary student it is difficult, even for an average one too. And then the system launched Yi Hong's attractiveness skill and immediately the teacher looked at him and thought that this student was so handsome. Yi Hong realized that this year he should take first place and his system gave a point for fast writing and began to develop his skill. But the student distracted the teacher and said that now it was his turn and she should look at him and give him a test sheet with questions now. The teacher told the student that she understood him and now she will come up to him and check his assignment and he should wait for her there for a while. The teacher looked at Yi Hong and didn't understand what this student was sitting and laughing at and she didn't know it, but she was very interested in finding out all this. The teacher thought that she was ready to burn with shame because this student is so handsome and she should ask all the information about him. The students looked at Yi Hong and thought that it was impossible that he was solving problems there and that this guy was even thinking and how could he solve. The student thought that this guy probably realized that he couldn't do anything and he had already given up and was writing everything that came to his mind now. The teacher thought that she had finally distributed the exam papers and now she could relax while all the students were solving tests in the hall. But at that very second, Yi Hong stood up and told the teacher that he had a question for her and she thought what problem this student had. The teacher approached Yi Hong and asked if there was something wrong with the test and he said that the test was fine and he called her differently. Yi Hong told the teacher that he just wanted to turn in his paper and he had already finished answering the questions and was ready to start another test. The teacher asked student Yi Hong if he really wanted to turn in his work and thought that she never expected that the student was so smart. The teacher thought that she had just handed out tests and he had already decided everything and what speed did this student have and it was all so incredible. Yi Hong asked the teacher if there was some rule that now allows him to submit his work early and he wants to pass his test sooner. The teacher told Yi Hong that of course it is possible, but no one has passed it yet and he is ahead of all the records of mathematical Olympiads for years. Yi Hong began to leave the room and the students asked why they should be in the classroom with complete scum and a scoundrel. But another student thought that it was a pity that he didn't know Yi Hong personally and couldn't copy because now he could really help him in the hall. Su Qing remembered that Qin Fei had told him that all of Yi Hong's math skills were a little strange, and now he had personally seen it. The student said that one person came out and it seems that this is another victim of difficult tasks and he could not cope with the pressure there. A friend told him that it's terrible, but every year the tasks become more sophisticated and difficult and he himself cannot solve all of them. Yi Hong thought that after the first round there should be a break of half an hour and the second won't start until 10 and he has about an hour. And then Teacher Yang approached him and asked Yi Hong that not even 3 minutes had passed and why he left so early and was he really kicked out there? Yi Hong asked Teacher Yang why he left and because he passed everything and doesn't understand why he asked him about this because it's understandable. All the other teachers laughed and told Teacher Yang what amazing students Yang had and they knew they would fail today. The teachers said that they expected this from Jitsai and all of Teacher Yang's students are weak and none of them will definitely be able to reach the finals. Yi Hong told Teacher Yang that there was still a lot of time before the second round, so he would go and look for a place to rest there. Teacher Yang thought that if he had known that Yi Hong would feel this way about the Olympics now, he would have sent another student today. 10 minutes later, the teachers said that it was Su Qing and it looks like he has already finished his test and now they will find out the result of the math genius. The teacher asked Su Qing how he was feeling and whether he was already confident in his victory, because he knew that he had no equal and that all others were weak. The teacher asked Su Qing if this still interests him and this student participates every year and he is already tired of always winning the tournament. Su Qing told the teachers that difficulties are not bad and they are like a delicious piece of pie and not every student in the world can eat it. Yi Hong was sleeping under a tree at that time and realized that it was good that he had finished everything so early and now he would have time to rest from all his affairs. Su Qing asked Yi Hong if he was sure that he answered all the questions seriously or just wrote nonsense so that he could return home faster. But Yi Hong did not respond to Su Qing's words and continued to sleep and realized that he was not getting enough sleep at night and had to make up for it all during the day. Su Qing looked at how Yi Hong was sleeping and thought that it looked like he didn't even listen to his words and therefore did not react to them in any way and this was infuriating. Su Qing was very angry and thought that he would someday beat this scoundrel and he would beg him for mercy and Hong was just a weakling and a coward. Su Qing began to leave from there and said that Yi Hong should wait and soon he would find out that he had contacted the wrong opponent and would regret it himself. And at that very second Su Qing asked his friend to come out into the light and come up to him and he wants to talk to him about an important matter now. The guy told Su Qing that this should be included in the price and he waited there for quite a long time and didn't say a word to him during the whole thing. Su Qing told his friend that this man's name is Yi Hong and they are there with him in the same audience and he will wait for him to come to them and surprise them. The guy told Su Qing that he understood him and he would do everything he could to make his friend happy and this Yi Hong would already regret everything. After a while, the teacher said that the second round begins now and the test contains questions on geometry, but more difficult than at the beginning. The teacher noticed that Yi Hong was sitting there and smiling and she realized that this was the same cute student and he was waiting for the second round to start. The teacher thought that this time the tasks were more difficult and she hoped that this would confuse this student at least a little and he would not be so fast. But suddenly at that very second Yi Hong told the teacher that he had done everything and wanted to hand in the work so that they could check and report the result. The teacher was shocked and thought how is this possible and how can this student solve complex equations so quickly and this is strange. And at 1 o'clock in the afternoon all 3 rounds of tests were completed and the jury immediately began checking the work there to later announce all the results. Su Qing's friend started looking for a job as a student Yi Hong and after a couple of minutes he realized that he had found what he was looking for and now he could help his friend Qing. People at that time were wondering who would receive a special prize this year. And there was the genius Su Qing, but there was also a guy who quickly solved tests. Su Qing thought that speed does not matter because he will take the main prize again and no one can stop him from winning today. But suddenly Yi Hong turned and asked Su Qing why he was staring at him and maybe he was interested in men instead of girls. Su Qing was angry and thought that he would take revenge on Yi Hong for this and he did not expect that a response from him would soon follow and he would regret all this. The teacher said thank you to all the people for participating and now all the results will be announced and they will understand who won their Olympiad. The teacher said that again the results were predictable and no one will defeat this demon of mathematics and he is a genius in his field. But at that moment a man entered the room and all the teachers asked the president why he personally came there and what question he had. The president asked the teachers maybe he shouldn't ask about the students' results because this really intrigues him and he will find out. All the teachers told the president that of course, without any problems, he and they could find out the test results of all students, because this is important. The president asked the teachers to hurry up and show him Su Qing's work and he wants to evaluate his test and find out what he wrote there today. The teacher gave the president Su Qing's work and thought that it looks like today this genius will take the award again and the president will be happy with the test. The president said that everything is correct and brilliant and this work is worthy of the level of Yengu University of Science and Technology and he is proud of the student. But suddenly the teacher asked the president maybe he took this job now by mistake and all the teachers were surprised by the lady's question. But the president told the teacher that everything was correct and the name Su Qing was written there and thought that it looked like she was very tired and nervous today. But the teacher told the president that she remembers this handwriting and it definitely does not belong to this student and she is confident in this opinion. The teacher told the president that the author of the work was Yi Hong and she remembered him well because she was amazed at the speed of completing all the work. The president listened to the teacher's words and asked others to quickly bring Yi Hong's work to him, and he wants to take a look at it too and find out. Su Qing's friend brought Yi Hong's work to the president and said that he could personally look at the tests and make sure that there was no longer any fraud there. But suddenly the president threw all the work at Su Qing's friend and asked who did this and wanted to blatantly deceive him and this is all very serious. The president pointed his finger at the teachers and asked if they all thought that if he didn't evaluate the work personally, he didn't control it. The president said that it seems Su Qing has been blatantly manipulating the results for a long time and they would not have thought and trusted too naively. The president said that Yi Hong's answers are 100 times better than Su Qing's and especially worth noting is the final task that only a genius can do. The president asked the teachers which of them did this and told this person to come forward and he wants to ask him a couple of questions now. Su Qing's friend fell to the floor and told the president that it was not him and he did not rename their works and does not know who could have done this now. All the teachers looked at this man and realized that only he could do this and he gave himself away because he was more nervous than anyone else there. The president grabbed the teacher by the scruff of the neck and asked if he really did all this and how could he do this to the brilliant student Hong. The presenter at this time asked everyone for forgiveness for the long wait and said that now all the test results of the students will be announced. Teacher Yang prayed and asked God that Jitsai school would be in first or third place this time, and the main thing is that it will not disgrace itself. The presenter said that he will say that the first 3 places in bronze today goes to the school of Lu Jifeng, student Chen Lu, and they congratulate him. The host said that the gold goes to Su Qing from high school and he told Yi Hong that not this time and he should study even harder. Su Qing received an award and people said that he was the smartest and he deserved the title of a mathematical genius and proved it for the 6th time. Yi Hong thought that this could not be and he answered all the questions correctly and how Su Qing managed to win today is their mystery. Su Qing told Yi Hong that from the very beginning he advised him to give up and now he has failed and has not received a single prize and it is a shame. Su Qing's friend told Yi Hong that now he will know his place and will no longer argue with the mathematical genius because he is a fool and this is a fact. The presenter told the people that he was happy to announce the end of their Olympiad and hoped that they were satisfied with the entire tournament. But suddenly the president appeared in the hall and asked to wait 1 minute and said that the results were invalid and he already knew it. The presenter asked the boss what was the matter and said that he had already announced all the results and winners there and everyone knew who won there today. People didn't know what was going on and thought maybe they had announced false results and who was this old man and he looked furious. The man said that he was the president of the Fu Hing Association and one of their teachers was in cahoots with Su Qing and from that day on he was deprived of his awards. President Fu Hing said that the real winner of today's Olympiad is Yi Hong from Jitsai High School and he is awesome. People wondered if they understood correctly that Su Qing lost all his awards for cheating and who is Yi Hong and where is he so smart from. President Fu Hing said that Su Qing from the school resorted to vile and disgusting tricks and this is a shame for the entire educational institution. President Fu Hing told everyone that he would contact Director Qing and ask them to double-check his knowledge to make sure that he is so smart. Su Qing said that he would accept any punishment but begged not to be deprived of his quota for admission to university and he dreamed about this for a long time. Su Qing was on his knees and asked President Fu Hing to give him a second chance and he would not let him down and would do everything to make him proud. But President Fu Hing kicked Su Qing and said that he no longer wants to listen to his excuses and knows that he will deceive all the teachers again. Teacher Yang approached Yi Hong and said that he scolded him but now he will accompany him in any endeavors and support his friend. Yi Hong said that it's okay if teacher Yang never forces him to participate in stupid competitions again and it exhausts him. All the students were shocked and wondered if Yi Hong really called all these Olympiads stupid for which they were all preparing day and night. But the students said that in Yi Hong's opinion, this important Olympiad is just useless entertainment and he does not take science seriously. After Yi Hong thought that there was time before school and he read a little there and received from the system the development of the skills of the king of cooking. Yi Hong did not understand what he was talking about and asked the system what this word king of cooking means and how he can develop all these skills. The system told Yi Hong that since he asked him this question, he will answer it with all sincerity and hopes that it will help him. The system informed Yi Hong that he would tell him all the information about satisfying secret desires so that the owner would understand what was going on. The system said that every girl will feel the pleasure that food brings and will be delighted with the food of the culinary king Yi. The system told Yi Hong that he is Ting Ting system embodiment that will notify him about updates and news and this is important. Tinker Ting told Yi Hong that the king of cooking is an achievement and it allows you to add magical effects to food and decorate the dish. Hong grabbed Tinker Ting and asked if he was the system embodiment and finally he appeared and he always wanted to see him with his own eyes. Yi Hong was very angry and told Tinker Ting that since he was tied to this system, he has trouble sleeping at night and it's all his fault. Ding Ding asked Yi Hong to stop strangling him and said that he couldn't breathe and did he really want to finish off his personal system? Ziki heard Yi Hong arguing with someone and asking and thought that he was stopping her from reading a book and what did this guy allow himself to do there? Ziki was furious and immediately stood up and told Yi Hong that he was a corpse and she warned him that he should sit there quietly. Ziki asked Yi Hong what was wrong with him and why he was acting so strangely and it seemed to her that he was arguing with someone there and she wasn't lying. Yi Hong wondered if he was the only one who could see Tinker Ding and asked for forgiveness from Sister Ziki and said that he just lost his temper and was to blame. Yi Hong told Jichi that there is just a mosquito constantly flying near his ear and it is very annoying and he cannot swat it now. Ziki told Yi Hong that he had better not make her angry anyway and she had already been having problems with the task card for several days. Ziki told Yi Hong that she was looking for information and didn't find the answer there and it's so annoying and she doesn't know how to not be nervous there. Yi Hong asked Ziki if she was talking about higher mathematics now and asked to show her the assignment and maybe he could help her. Ziki asked Yi Hong if he could help her because she asked many math teachers at school but they couldn't solve it. Yi Hong studied the problem and the system reported that viewing this topic revealed 70% of successful outcomes, the answer to the problem was found. The system began to formalize the problem and Yi Hong began to quickly solve this problem and realized that it was not so difficult and he would quickly solve everything. Ziki told Yi Hong that this is what to do in this problem and asked if this theorem could be used in this difficult problem. Yi Hong told Ziki that once she finished reading, she would see if there was anything unclear and if she could contact a friend. Ziki asked Yi Hong how he did it and he told his friend that he is often underestimated and he is very smart in some subjects. Yi Hong told Jichi that today he had an Olympiad in this subject of mathematics and he won the main prize and it's not difficult. Yi Hong told Sister Ziki that he was trying only for her and asked her now she is in a good mood and hopes that she is happy. Ziki told Yi Hong that she would be happy if only he promised her that he would come every day at noon to teach her the subject. Ziki told Yi Hong that otherwise she would send word to the administrator that Yi Hong was harassing the librarian there. But at that very second, Yi Hong grabbed onto Ziki and asked his sister just not to do this and said that he agreed and would teach her mathematics. The next day, Yi Hong looked at their family store and realized that the establishment was so popular that it got a place there in the center. Mom and Dad didn't believe their luck and there was already an incredible kitchen there and they only saw something like that in the photo and they are happy about this place. But his mother told Yi Hong that she was not sure that they would pay all this rent because this is a very expensive place and this makes his parents so happy. Yi Hong asked his mother not to be nervous and said that in the coming days they will start working and will earn money and run their business. But at that moment some guy came in there and asked if all the people there had died out and it was an abomination and what kind of wretched place in the center was this. Yi Hong asked the guy how he could help him and said that they were closed for now and therefore could not serve him and he was so sorry there. The guy told Yi Hong that he was not a visitor and in his life he would never go there and asked Yi Hong if he was the manager of this wretched establishment. The guy said that this is not a new establishment and sales just increased and they became popular and he is so young. But the manager. The guy said that in fact he had already spoken with the tenant Choi and he mentioned that he was renting out the premises and he understood that they were the same poor people. The guy told the Hong family that this wouldn't do and he didn't want to look at their ugly village faces and wanted to get out of there quickly. The guy told Yi Hong that they want to rent their store as their branch at a high price and they will all get 3 times more. The guy told Yi Hong that there is also no rent so they win and asked how about that and isn't that great? The father thought that they got the premises for free and if they already rented this place to Wu Tao it would make all their clients unhappy. Yi Hong pointed his finger at the door and told Wu Tao that he already had exactly 3 seconds to get out of there and he would not tolerate this. The girl asked the guy if this was the same new eatery and she had heard a lot about this place and they cook very tasty dishes there. The guy told the girl that she was right and this is the same Yi Hong store that received the place as a gift from businessman Kai for friendship. The boss said that she misses her little brother's food and she hasn't eaten his signature noodles for a long time and now she will try the food again. The boss asked the guys why don't they just go their separate ways so as not to interfere with the Hong family settling into a new workplace in the center. Wu Tao told the 3 scoundrels that they would regret not accepting his offer and they should sell this place to their friend Wu. Wu Tao told Yi Hong that he can believe it or not, but he can throw him out of business like any shop owner on this street. And then the boss came into the room and she asked Wu Tao to repeat again what he just told her brother Yi Hong and his entire Hong family. Wu Tao told the boss that he doesn't care how many times he has to repeat it for these deaf people, but this ridiculous place will close and he is sure. But suddenly at that very second the boss hit Wu Tao in the face and so wanted this bastard to shut up and how he speaks to the boss in such a tone. The boss told Wu Tao that from now on she will protect this store and anyone who dares to create trouble will have problems with her. Wu Tao asked the pathetic creature not to hit him in the face and who does she think she is and he can hit her too and she will beg him. Wu Tao began to crawl towards the exit and told the girl that she should just wait and she would pay for what she did and he would punish her for her blow. The boss walked up to Yi Hong and told her brother that he should quickly prepare 10 servings of his signature noodles for his sister. Yi Hong told the boss that they won't open for a couple of days, but he will already make noodles for her as a thank you for helping their family. Jang Shu was walking on the street at that time and thought that she had not communicated with Yi Hong for a long time and she wanted to see him and find out what was wrong with him. But at that very second, Jang Shu noticed Yi Hong's signature dessert and she thought that it looked incredibly delicious and she wanted this food. And then Li Mia appeared in front of Zhang Shui and said that what a coincidence this was all and she never expected to see her on the street now. Zhang Shui asked Li Mia if she shouldn't be at work now and Mia heard that Yi Hong's best establishment has moved there. Li Mia told Zhang Shui that that's why she took a break and came to help so Zhang can go home because her mother is so worried. Zhang Shui told Li Mia that it's okay and she will write to her mother there. But in the meantime they will find out which of them is more welcome and this is interesting. The boss was sitting in the cafe at that time and asked brother Yi Hong why the noodles were still not ready and she couldn't wait anymore and it was so difficult. Yi Hong asked the boss to wait a little and thought that he was now cooking with all his heart so that the dish would be the best and his sister would be happy. And at that very second, Zhang Shui and Li Mia entered the establishment and they wanted to visit their friend Yi Hong and find out how he was doing now. Yi Hong's mother said good afternoon to the girls and asked for forgiveness and said that they were closed for now and she was waiting for them there next time. But the girls told the woman that they had come to help and the mother was so surprised and called her husband there to explain what was going on. Yi Hong's mom asked the girls who they wanted to help and his dad also didn't expect to see the students there and thought that it looked like they were Yi. And then Yi Hong came out to them and asked Zhang Shui and Li Mia what they were doing there and he was surprised to see his colleagues there and what they needed. Zhang Shui told Yi Hong that she heard that they moved and she came to help and Li Mia thought that those were her words. Yi Hong said thank you to his friends and said that another pair of hands there would not be superfluous and he would be glad if they helped him in the kitchen now. And at that very second, Li Mia grabbed the broom from Yi Hong's father's hands and she told them that she would take care of everything herself and help the family. And Zhang Shui grabbed the rag from Yi Hong's mother's hands and said that she would take over this matter and asked the family to take a break for now. Yi Hong prepared signature noodles and wished the boss a bon appetit and she thought that she didn't know that he was so popular at school. Mom asked her husband if he thought that these beauties were in love with their son and his fans and therefore wanted to help their best friend. The father told his wife that he had never seen girls in love with the same guy at the same time and it was so interesting and intriguing. Mom told her husband that before she was afraid that their son Yi would not find a good wife and thought that he would remain single forever. And the father told his wife that now he is afraid that their son Yi Hong will no longer be able to choose one of these girls because they are both good and cute. Mom told her husband that she thinks the girl who cleans the table is quite nice and she really likes her and does a great job. And the father told his wife that she should look at how the second girl there handles the broom so deftly and it looks like she is energetic and kind. And then Yi Hong approached the family from behind and told them that they still had so much to do in the kitchen and they could help him instead of standing around doing nothing. Mom told Yi Hong that they remembered there that they hadn't bought a lot of things and asked her husband to go shopping there with her. Mom asked Yi Hong to look after her friends for now and let them rest and not overwork because they are working non-stop now. Yi Hong thought that these old people are too lazy and if things continue like this they will lose their business and they don't have enough energy in their business. And then Jang Shu approached Yi Hong and she said if she could ask him for something and she had been wanting to ask about it for a couple of hours. Yi Hong told Jang Shu that of course she could ask him anything and asked his friend what was the matter and why she was worried now. And then Jang Shu asked Yi Hong if she could try it and showed him his signature dessert that cured Grandpa Sai. And at that very second, Li Mia immediately ran up to Yi Hong and said that she was also hungry and she was tired because she worked so many hours in the cafe. Yi Hong told the girls that he will now prepare everything and ask the ladies to wait for him there and he will fulfill all their demands and he is not lying. And after a while, Yi Hong asked to accept this as gratitude and the girls asked their friend if this was that delicious cake. Jang Shu and Li Mia started taking pictures of Yi Hong's dessert and thought that it looked very tasty and now they would try and appreciate his dish. Jang Shu posted a photo of the cake on the internet and said that they are trying this dessert and will tell you what this dessert can be compared with. And at that moment Jang Shu tried the cake and froze there in surprise and realized that this taste could not be compared with anything and it was a miracle. And at that very second, it was as if Jang Shu and Li Mia were at the sea and she told her sister that it was so good there and she never wanted to leave. Jang Shu was delighted and thought that she did not think that Hong could make such a delicious cake and he surprised her there. And then a huge octopus appeared in front of the girls, but they both did not want to leave this place despite this loud creature there. The octopus began to envelop the girls and they realized that his hugs were so pleasant and they did not want to get out of his grip and he was so beautiful. The octopus was Yi Hong and he enveloped the girls with his tentacles and did not want to let them go and now he will take them with him into the abyss. The girls enjoyed the taste of the dessert and Yi Hong thought that he really hopes that tomorrow's opening of the establishment will be the beginning of success. And after that, Yi Hong went to bed and woke up in the morning in his excellent new home and thought that the room had all the best conditions. Yi Hong realized that Mr. Sai settled his family in the best and most expensive place and thought that he helped his friend a lot and he remembers everything. Yi Hong realized that the new house was so well soundproof that he was finally able to sleep after long nights without sleep and he was happy. Yi Hong decided that today we need to hold a decent opening ceremony today and all customers should be happy with everything in the cafe. Yi Hong thought that yesterday they notified everyone and therefore they must have a lot of people and he and his family are ready to meet people there. But suddenly, at that very second, Yi Hong smelled a stinking smell and could not understand where the stink came from and why he smelled this smell now. And then Yi Hong froze in surprise because he noticed a lot of garbage near the establishment and a lot of people had gathered there and they were all looking. Yi Hong thought that this immoral person who did such a thing and this person should be punished because it is so disgusting. Wu Tao appeared in front of Yi Hong and said that the head of the waste treatment station was working early in the morning and they were dirty and stinking. Wu Tao asked what he wanted from his family's establishment, because this is already a dump and in such places there should be a lot of garbage and everything fits together. Yi Hong asked Wu Tao if he had scattered trash there and thought that this man knows how to make a scandal at the most inopportune moment. Wu Tao told Yi Hong that by the way, this is only the first opening gift for a friend and now he can get a second one and that will suit him very much. Wu Tao told people that if anyone enters this restaurant, any of them will immediately be blacklisted from their store and he is not lying. Yi Hong was calm and asked Wu Tao if these were all his gifts and received a point from the system for being carefree and in a good mood. Wu Tao asked Yi Hong if he was sure that he was the only one who thought so and immediately asked his friend to look at all the people and he would be convinced of everything there. People doubted that they should go to the cafe and it was better for them not to visit this place at all, and why was it boycotted on the opening day of the cafe? Wu Tao told Yi Hong that this state of affairs is repelling people and in this case, even God cannot help him solve this problem. Wu Tao thought that Yi Hong and his family would fail, and Yi Hong immediately asked Wu Tao to listen to him and he wants to tell him something there. Yi Hong asked Wu Tao not to interfere with them and mind his own business, and they will meet later and he will regret that he did all this disgusting thing there. Wu Tao told Yi Hong that it was too late to negotiate with him and they would destroy not only him but also the store and he deserved it now. Yi Hong asked Wu Tao if he really thought that the landlord would personally agree with his position and please his friend in his affairs. Wu Tao told Yi Hong that his friend's name is Mr. Sai and they are great friends and he will do whatever his best friend Tao says. But at that very moment, Mr. Sai suddenly approached Brother Yi and said that his uncle Sai refused the trip to help with their discovery. Mr. Sai asked Yi Hong what was going on there and the guy told his uncle that there was a problem with the establishment today and he would not be able to serve. Uncle Sai was angry and turned around and asked Wu Tao maybe he did it all and wanted to quickly hear an honest answer to the question from the guy. Wu Tao told Mr. Sai that this is just a joke and he will now remove all the garbage and this establishment can operate without problems and he is so happy. Mr. Sai pointed his finger and told Wu Tao that he should get out of there along with this garbage as far as possible and not appear. Yi Hong said thank you to Mr. Sai for his help and he was worried about how to solve this problem because today they have an opening. Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that they should open this place already and he can't wait to eat his cake because it's incredible. Yi Hong told the people that now that everything was settled they should move on to the grand opening that people had been waiting for years there. All the people were happy and said as soon as this place opens they will have lunch and breakfast there every day because all their food is delicious. But suddenly Yi Hong told people that they would auction off their signature baked goods, Spring Snow Star, for 100 bids and start. People were surprised and wondered if the event in honor of their opening of a new cafe was an auction and why were these baked goods made. Mr. Sai thought that Yi Hong is so unexpected and he likes how he finds interesting entertainment for his benefit in business. And at that moment, Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that he would give 200 for the Spring Snow Star and he wanted to try this dessert quickly. Yi Hong told Uncle Sai thank you for his generosity and he will not forget what he did for his family and will always be grateful to their best friend. Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that just the taste of his dessert is something more and he wants to eat this dessert every day because it is healthy. Mr. Sai started eating Yi Hong's dessert with pleasure and thought it was delicious, and all the other people looked at Mr. and wanted dessert. And then people told Yi Hong that they would give him 120 for this dessert, and others offered 250 to try it. All the people looked at Yi Hong's signature dessert and studied its entire consistency and thought that they were all seeing such a dessert for the first time. People began to taste the Spring Snow Star and hoped that it was worth the money and the taste would not be the same as other desserts. All the people were absolutely delighted and said that it was worth it and they were all lucky and now they would never forget this great taste. At this time, the man was sitting at the computer and began to come up with news that there was something in the Spring Snow Star cake. The man published this news on the internet and thought that now his boss might be happy because he fulfilled his request now. The man called his friend and said that he did what he asked him to do and now he has nothing to worry about and everything is fine. Jang Shu saw the news and asked Yi Hong to look at it all and someone is blatantly accusing him on the internet and they are all lying about this matter. Yi Hong read that it was written on the internet that the secret of the Spring Snow Star cake in angel dust is addictive. Yi Hong read this article and thought what was going on because yesterday everything was fine and what is wrong today and who benefits from harming him there. And then Yi Hong realized that it was definitely Wu Tao and no one but him could write such a false article because he hates him and envies them. Yi Hong thought maybe Wu Tao held a grudge because of the discovery and is now resorting to dirty methods and he swears that he will soon regret it. Wu Tao at that time was sitting in the Hong family cafe and told his parents that there was no one there, but at the opening everything was packed with people and where was everyone? But at that very second, Yi Hong threw a napkin in Wu Tao's face and told him to get out and asked if he posted all the fake news online. Wu Tao asked Yi Hong why the shoe salesman would write about this, but he realized that there was really something wrong with his baked goods and there was a secret there. Yi Hong pointed his finger at Wu Tao and said that something was clearly wrong with him and received a point from the system for righteous anger and all the momentum. Wu Tao told Yi Hong that anyway their eatery will close sooner or later and none of the people will go there because their cafe sucks. And the boss came there and told Yi Hong that she had brought the person he wanted to see and he asked to let him go, otherwise he would beat him up. Yi Hong was furious and grabbed the man by the scruff of the neck and asked if he thought he didn't know what he was writing about on the internet and who would be arrested. And then the man began to look at Wu Tao and thought that this was his very friend and he had to hand him over, otherwise he would have obvious problems. Suddenly the man pointed at Wu Tao and said that it was him and he told him to post fake news on the internet and it was not his idea. Wu Tao was very nervous and told Yi Hong that he definitely doesn't know this fat man and why is he accusing him of doing bad things, he is lying. The boss showed Wu Tao a photo and asked him to look at it, and after that he would dare to say that he doesn't know a fat man, and that's strange. The photo showed Wu Tao giving money to this man and he was shocked and realized that now it seemed he would not be able to explain his action. The boss was angry and started beating Wu Tao and his accomplice and thought how dare they offend her best friend and brother Yi Hong with dessert. The boss asked Yi Hong if he wanted these people to be in as much pain as possible and they could roll them into the asphalt or beat them up. But Yi Hong told his sister that they would leave it to the professionals and they themselves would beat these scoundrels as severely as possible and it would hurt. And then an officer came into the establishment and told everyone that her name was Lin Lin Song and she was from the Amin County Sheriff's Department and wanted to ask. Ling Ling Song told Wu Tao and his friend that they suspected that they had slandered a person and asked them to go with her to the security bureau. Lin Ling Song began to take Wu Tao and his friend with her and asked them not to try to escape and it would not work for them and it was a useless idea. Mr. Sai continued to eat his signature dessert and told his friend Yi Hong that he was great and handled this problem well as Tao. Yi Hong said thank you to Uncle Sai for his help, otherwise Boss Anchi would not have been able to determine their location and get the necessary evidence. But Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that as a representative of the Sai family, it was not difficult for him to pull it off and he need not be nervous now. Boss Anchi told Brother Hong that she was exhausted while dragging the fat man there and asked if he had something to drink and it was difficult for her. And then Yi Hong realized what the problem was and that's why the baked goods were somehow lacking and he thought it was time to make a signature drink. Afterwards, Yi Hong walked on the street and wondered what kind of drink he could make, soda, tea or something else, and he had not yet decided. But suddenly at that moment Yi Hong noticed that his good friend sister Jichi was standing there on the street and he never expected to meet. Yi Hong wanted to say good afternoon to Ziki, but someone told Ziki that she did a great job today and the clients are very happy. Yi Hong was shocked and wondered if sister Ziki was doing something obscene there and why didn't he know anything about it until that day. The man asked Ziki why don't she come there during the day and he will help her become a star in this field and she will not regret everything. Ziki told the man thank you, but during the day she needs to go to work in the library to prepare for college and this is important. The man asked Jichi what was the point of studying ESGR, in the end it might turn out to be useless and the beauty wouldn't need the study. The man asked Ziki why doesn't she just give up and move on to them where she will be happy and rich and they will definitely provide for her. Ziki thought that she didn't think so and she remembered that she promised Yi Hong to come to the library so that he could help her with math there. Ziki thought that Yi Hong is a good guy and she doesn't want him to know all this because it might offend him and he always helps her there. The man began to reach out to Jichi and said that with a body like hers, she definitely wouldn't get lost and would be able to climb her career quickly. Ziki thought that it seems that no one can help her and she will now do what this person asks and she is sorry that she came there. But suddenly Yi Hong appeared in front of Jichi and stood in front of her and he wanted to protect her from the hands of the scoundrel and did not want him to touch Jichi. The man was very angry and asked Yi Hong who he was and how he dared to interfere with his communication with the lady and what he allows himself now. Yi Hong told the man that he is Ziki's younger brother and her condition worries him first and foremost and he always worries about his sister. Yi Hong told the man that he is trying but his brother will not allow him to replace his sister in this dirty place and he may not think about her. But the man started laughing and Ziki covered her face with her hand and thought that Yi Hong was an idiot and it seemed like he didn't understand what he was doing now. Ziki told Yi Hong that he was not thinking about that at all and she was just a singer in their bar and that he was fantasizing about it and it was strange. The man asked Yi Hong why not help his sister and what is the use of studying, and this is a rare chance to become famous and the face of their club. Yi Hong looked at Ziki and realized that she herself did not want to sing in their bar, and he respected her decision and he would always protect his friend. Yi Hong told the man that he won't help if sister Ziki doesn't want to do it because it's primarily her choice and that's a fact. The man told Yi Hong that if he doesn't help, he should get out of there to his mother and not interfere with their serious conversation with Ziki. But Yi Hong told the man that she herself should go away, and he said that he and Ziki did not agree to work for them and took her away with him. The man shouted and told Jichi that she would leave with the guy now or tomorrow evening, she should not think about returning to them. Ziki told Yi Hong that the bar owner was doing this for her benefit and she needed a lot of money for college and couldn't be unemployed. Yi Hong told sister Ziki that this guy now clearly has bad intentions and acted very rudely and vulgarly, and he makes him so angry. Yi Hong told Ziki that if she needs money, he can, if she doesn't mind, offer one option and she can agree to it. Yi Hong told Jichi that if she needs money, she can already go to work for him, and Jichi was very surprised by her friend's offer. Afterwards, Yi Hong was still thinking about his drink and realized that now milk and fruit tea are popular among young people, and this is true. Yi Hong thought that they would also go well with the spring snow star dessert, but which would be better, and it's so difficult to decide. Yi Hong hit the table and thought that he couldn't choose one of these options, and this was preventing him from coming up with his own drink. The alter ego told Yi Hong that only weak people choose and all the strongest will take everything and will no longer suffer from the choice of drinks. Yi Hong began experimenting and received a point from the system for his tea ceremony and combination of any culinary ingredients. Yi Hong came up with his own drink, and the system reported that his tea ceremony level was raised to organizer and he was so well developed. Yi Hong was very tired but was glad that he finally made decent tea, and now people will drink it along with his signature dessert. The system launched the Cooking King skill and told Yi Hong that he could also create the Cooking King effect and it would add flavor. Yi Hong started tasting his tea and thought that it should have a distinctive feature so that people would understand what kind of Yi Hong tea it is. Ting Ting told Yi Hong that it tastes much better than other milk teas and he can see it for himself even without Ting saying. But Yi Hong told Tinker Bell that the taste of his milk tea is not so different from others, and what else can he do with this tea? Yi Hong was interested and he asked Ting Ting, so what is the effect of this Cooking King skill, and he can't understand this difference. But Ding Ding teased Yi Hong and asked him what the effect of the King of Cooking was and if he could answer his questions. Jang Shu was sitting in class at that time, and the teacher said that he would give homework and let them all remember to do it during the holidays. But suddenly Yi Hong appeared in front of Jang Shu and he handed her a glass, and she was shocked because she didn't expect him to appear today. Yi Hong told Jang Shu that he just wanted to treat her to fruit tea and he had just made it and wanted to hear her opinion first. Jang Shu calmed down and took the glass from Yi Hong's hands and said that she forgives him only because he gave his drink to her. Jang Shu started to try Yi Hong drink and thought that it must be a masterpiece that no one has even tried before. But after taking one sip, Jang Shu froze in surprise and Yi Hong asked her what the taste of his drink was and why she was so silent. But Jang Shu told Yi Hong that she couldn't answer him and immediately ran out of the room and thought that she would tell her friend everything later. Yi Hong asked Jang Shu to wait for him because she didn't tell him anything about the taste of his drink and maybe he needs to add something to it. Yi Hong went into the library and told Ziki that Jang Shu ran away without saying anything and he doesn't know why and hasn't shared his opinion yet. Ziki asked Yi Hong if he made tea suitable for his signature cake, and it's so interesting and she'll find out everything. Yi Hong told Ziki that now she works for him without even leaving the library, she maintains her reputation on the internet and her sister will appreciate it. Ziki started drinking Yi Hong's drink and he asked his sister what she thought about this wonderful milk tea and hoped that it was delicious. Ziki thought that she should tell Yi Hong about this and he should now understand her because she will always tell him the truth and this is all important. Ziki walked up to Yi Hong and whispered important information in his ear and thought it would be interesting for the cooking guru to know about tea. Ziki told Yi Hong that this is all he needs to know and he was very surprised to learn about it and thought that it looks like he invented something there. Yi Hong said that he didn't know that this tea drink can also relieve menstrual pain, which is great, and he's happy to have his own tea. Jichi was very embarrassed and asked not to talk about it so loudly and no one should listen to it because it is a very personal problem for the ladies. After a while, Yi Hong told his people that everything is ready and they have worked so hard for the National Day and this is their great job. But then someone started calling Yi Hong and he was surprised and thought what she needed from him and he should answer her to find out what was going on. Yi Hong answered and told the girl that he was listening to her and she should quickly explain to him why she called him because she's busy right now. The girl asked brother Yi Hong to help him and she couldn't cope without his help and he should take a break from his affairs and devote time to her. Yi Hong asked Vane what happened and she said that Pan in class thinks that he is not as good as her brother and they will explain everything. Yi Hong said that he thought that she was taken away and National Day is coming soon and he will not be able to play with her but she said that she is serious. Vane asked Yi Hong to take a break for just one day and help her settle accounts with this bore so that she would no longer pester her there. Yi Hong told Vina that if she promises him something, he will definitely go with her and they will quickly solve this problem there with these people. Vane said that if she can defeat them, then she has 100 more conditions and let him write to her the place and time of the competition. On the day of the event, Yi Hong arrived at this place and thought that he had played too hard yesterday and therefore overslept and hoped that Vane was not waiting for him. And then Vane told her brother that he was late and they had been waiting for him for a long time and now she would introduce him to the neighbors and his brother would find out everything about them. The girls said that they would have fun and one of the friends told Yi Hong that his name was Zheng Xiaohua and the other lady was Zhu Jing. Yi Hong realized that he seemed to be in favor of these 4 girls and he was sure that he would have a great time with them instead of cooking. The guy approached them and told Vina that he didn't think that she would actually bring her brother there and try to prove everything to them. The girl told her friends that her name is Ji Pan and this big guy next to her is her second brother and he loves his sister so much. The guy told Yi Hong that he was a former soldier from the 77th group who came from the Yanggu region and he was glad to meet him there. Yi Hong thought that former soldiers were playing with them and how could it be that elders bullied a child in kindergarten and it was so ridiculous. Yi Hong shook the former soldier's hand and received a point from the system for being pressured by an external force and resisting the attack, and he was wary. Yi Hong continued to squeeze the soldier's hand and wondered if he really wanted to test him, in which case he should blame himself today. The system gave Yi Hong points for the strength of compression and pressing on all the opponent's pain points doubles the opponent's pain and this will help. The former soldier was surprised and thought why this kid suddenly became stronger and then he too will be more serious and will attack him. Yi Hong began to squeeze the soldier's hand even tighter and he was already so uncomfortable and in pain and he was nervous and could not get out of the grip. And then Ji Pan came up to them and said that they should stop doing this and their event will begin soon and they should prepare. Yi Hong told his friends that he needed to change into a camouflage suit and said that they would see each other at the place and he would wait for them there. Ji Pan asked her brother if he was sure that he could do this because Vane's brother is just a student and he has no skills and is a weakling. Ji Pan told her brother that if he loses today, she will no longer be able to communicate with people at school and she will be very ashamed of him. The former soldier looked at Vane's brother and thought that now he definitely remembered his name Yi Hong and he would do everything to defeat the tough guy. The former soldier continued to look at Yi Hong and thought that they would see him on the battlefield and he would definitely know that he had chosen the wrong guy. And after a couple of minutes everyone gathered at the competition site and each of them wanted to win in order to humiliate their opponent on the battlefield. Vane's friend said that she did not think that the clock would show the number of remaining ones and she wanted to defeat her rivals as soon as possible. Vane asked brother Yi Hong when they will shoot at others and it's so boring to lie there and she is tired and wants to have fun and defeat them. And then Yi Hong noticed the silhouette of the enemy in the distance and realized that they could already attack and now no one could stop them. Yi Hong told Sister Vane that they should go and now they can all play and take the opponent by surprise and he believes in her strength. The entire Yi Hong team began to move forward and he thought that even with these girls he could defeat his opponent using their correct strategy. But at that very second Yi Hong asked all his soldiers to stand and he became wary and realized that they could already be being followed and it was dangerous. Yi Hong pointed his finger at the grass and asked Vane to shoot exactly there when he says and she must believe him and brother knows the nuances. Vane asked her brother if there was someone in the grass and Yi Hong immediately agreed with her and asked her to trust his intuition and it was good. Vane took aim at this place and began to wait for the command that she could shoot and realized that her brother should not make a mistake because this is so important. And at that moment, Vane fired many shots and Yi Hong immediately received a notification that his sister had hit all the players. Vane asked her brother if this was their success in defeating enemies, and he said that maybe her sister doubted that her brother was right there. The girls told Yi Hong that it was not bad, and how did he then know about the presence of enemies, and his brother really has good intuition and sensitivity. Yi Hong told the girls that it was all because of his experience in shooters, and immediately his system gave a point for accuracy and a cohesive team and victory. But at that moment Yi Hong realized that something was wrong and that one of his enemies was alive and would now definitely strike back, and this was dangerous. And then bullets began to fly at them and Yi Hong asked everyone to lie down, and their enemy took them by surprise when they did not expect danger at this time. The bullets hit all the girls from Yi Hong's team and they all dropped out of the game and could no longer do anything with the enemy, and Yi Hong took cover. The former soldier continued to aim and look for the enemy Yi Hong and realized that he was very dexterous and only he was able to dodge all his bullets there. The former soldier thought it was a pity that the bullet did not hit Yi Hong because he was aiming at him and should have killed the captain of this team. Ji Pan told her brother that he didn't finish off everyone and why Vane's brother ran away now, and how could he not hit the newcomer in this game from a meter. The former soldier told sister Ji Pan that it was okay and Yi Hong would not be so lucky next time and he would definitely shoot him so soon. Yi Hong received points for dodging bullets and realized that it seemed that the same brother was shooting at them and would never have thought that he would defeat everyone. Yi Hong hid behind a stone and thought that finally a short break and he could come up with a plan of action against his enemies and outwit them. Yi Hong looked at his watch and wondered if there were still 7 enemies, and he thought that there were much fewer of them left, but he was wrong in his guesses. Yi Hong realized that it seems that not only brother Kaizi but also others are going there to meet him and it will be fun, and he is ready to meet them all and is so happy. And at that moment the man took aim at Yi Hong and realized that the target would not run away and now they would definitely be able to shoot him quickly. Yi Hong jumped and started dodging bullets and thought that this soldier would not leave him alone for a minute and would not let him rest. All the enemies continued to shoot at Yi Hong and realized that together they could hit the enemy despite the fact that he is a very quick guy. Yi Hong immediately began to aim at one of his enemies and realized that he would not run away and he had just caught his prey, and that's for sure. Yi Hong hit one of the players and he was eliminated from the game, and the guy was very surprised because he didn't even notice that Yi Hong started aiming. Yi Hong hung on a tree and shot at another player and hit him, and he was also eliminated from the game, and he also did not want to admit defeat. Yi Hong sat on a tree and thought that he would quickly get rid of all the other enemies, and finally he wanted to fight with the former soldier. Yi Hong jumped out of the tree and realized that all his enemies were standing in a convenient place and it was not difficult to hit them, and he did not put any force into it. Yi Hong fired a shot and realized that his enemies looked like dummies and did not react in any way and did not want to hide from his bullets, and he liked it. Yi Hong hit both enemies simultaneously in a couple of seconds and they looked at each other and realized that they had made a huge mistake there. Yi Hong hid in the bushes and removed another one from the game, and the system gave him a point for his ability to shoot and he developed his skill for 1. The former soldier was aiming at Yi Hong and thought that this guy is a monster and such speed and reaction are unthinkable for a student, and that's cool. The former soldier told his sister that this is very interesting and he really likes Yi Hong's skills and looks like a former soldier from the army. Ji Pan asked her brother what was going on and why they still couldn't hit her friend's brother, and it looks like he's experienced and fast. The former soldier said that he had not felt this way for a long time and it was time for him to give his all to give an equal rebuff to brother Yi Hong. But suddenly, from behind his sister, Ji Ban Yi Hong repeated that he had not felt this way for a long time and it was time to give it his all now. The former soldier was surprised and turned around and did not find his sister Ji Pan there and wondered if Yi Hong was downstairs and hiding in the bushes. The former soldier could not understand where Yi Hong was, and maybe he was behind and he heard his sounds from there, and it seems Yi Hong is hiding very well. But suddenly at that moment Yi Hong threw leaves at the former soldier's face and he didn't expect that his enemy would joke with him so brazenly there. Brother Ji Pan was furious and ordered Yi Hong to come out and then they can deal with him like soldiers and stop hiding, and he's tired of it. And then the former soldier saw a rope on the grass and thought maybe it was a trap that Yi Hong had laid, but he knew how to get around it. But suddenly, at that very second, Yi Hong appeared in front of the former soldier and he kicked him in the leg so that he lost his balance and fell there. Yi Hong stood in front of the former soldier and told him that now he had lost and thought that he was confident that he would be able to win. The former soldier was happy and told Yi Hong that he lost and he never thought that in the end he would fool him, and he remembered himself there. Yi Hong thought maybe the former soldier hit his head hard, and why was he so happy when he lost, and it looks like he went crazy. Ji Pan thought that her brother cannot leave her alone and he is a goat and she will get him when he returns, and in vain he left her alone in trouble. And then Yi Hong appeared in front of Ji Pan and said that it means only she was left, and pointed a gun at her and thought that this was definitely her finale. Yi Hong thought that this friend of his sister talks a lot and he will get them today so that they understand that they are not the strongest. Yi Hong approached Ji Pan and said that today victory would be his and no one could help her because he had just dealt with his brother. Ji Pan was terrified and told Yi Hong that he should lose and he couldn't do anything to her, and started screaming and hitting him with her hands. Yi Hong thought that this couldn't be and it seemed like the end for him, and she couldn't control her feelings now and would just shoot him right away. But Yi Hong was sitting on the ground and Ji Pan began to shoot many times, but all the bullets flew in different directions and not one of them hit the enemy. Yi Hong fired once and hit Ji Pan, and the host announced that the player was out of the game and Yi Hong was the last player left there. All the girls were very happy and said that they won, and brother Yi Hong kept his word and he is so cool, and they are all already in love with him. Yi Hong walked up to his sister Vane and thought that now she should definitely be happy because he showed all the people who is boss. Yi Hong turned around and noticed Ji Pan and his brother Ji Zhong behind him and thought what they were doing there, and maybe they couldn't admit defeat. The brother asked his sister Ji Pan if she wanted to say something to her friends, and it seems that she came there because of this and he expects all actions from her. Ji Pan told Vina that this time she must admit that this brother of hers turned out to be the best, but next time she will definitely beat all of them. Vane told Ji Pan that then she will wait for the next competition and then they will find out who will be the coolest brother this year. Ji Jun said Yi Hong said that he didn't think that he would be so strong at such a young age, and he even surpassed him. Yi Hong told his brother that he is wrong and he is not as good as Ji Jun, and he learned a lot from him today and that is why he is grateful to him. The girl said that male relationships are cool, and a friend said that she calls it love after a fight and it's fantastic and so cool. Vane asked her friends where they would spend the rest of the holiday because they still have a lot of time and they can have fun together and find a place. Yi Hong asked his sister if she had forgotten what she promised him earlier, and the sister said that she remembered that he said that it was too windy. After a while, Vane asked Yi Hong if he really wants his beautiful sister to do something like this, and she now has the right to choose. Yi Hong asked his sister what she was thinking and just needs help at home and she should go to the front desk and listen to customers. The girl told Vina that she didn't know that their boss's sister was so sweet and she shouldn't be shy and should ask all the questions. Vane told the girl that it is better to be a sweet sister than a rude brother, and she knows that people always love her more than their brother. And 2 days later the girls continued to work in the cafe and Vane had already gotten comfortable there and was having fun with Jang Shu. On the 4th day of the holidays there were a lot of guests in the cafe and nice girls served them well and there were no questions for them. On the 7th day of the holiday, all the girls were very tired and Zhang Xue even fell to the floor and thought that she needed rest, otherwise she would fall asleep. And on the last day of the holidays, Vane finished her shift at night and realized that she liked working in a cafe and there was a great team there. Yi Hong went into the cafe and asked Zhang Xue if she wanted him to take her home, and it was already late and it was dangerous outside at that time. Zhang Xue asked Yi Hong if he could do a favor for her and he said that of course she could ask for anything. Zhang Xue asked Yi Hong if she could borrow it for the night and she had long wanted to ask him about it but was shy and afraid of him. Yi Hong froze in surprise and was in shock and thought that he could not have expected that Zhang Xue would ask him to do this, and everything was strange. And after a while, Yi Hong thought that he didn't think that this whole first attempt would be so tiring and he wanted to go home and sleep. And then Zhang Xue came up to him and asked for his forgiveness and told him that her parents had just called her and called their daughter home. Yi Hong said thank you to Zhang Xue for inviting him to watch the film in this quality for the first time today, and it is so unusual. Zhang Xue remembered that she begged her friend to give her tickets to the movie and the friend said that she would really go with her boyfriend Yi Hong. Zhang Xue told Yi Hong that her friend couldn't go to the movie and today was the last day, so she invited him there. Jang Shu asked Yi Hong where they would go next and realized that she was finally walking with him and she had long dreamed of this and it was true. Yi Hong told Jang Shu that he would buy drinks and asked her to stay there for now and wait for him to choose the best drink for her. Jang Shu agreed with Yi Hong but only asked her friend not to make her wait too long and she would miss him there. And at that moment, suddenly Yi Hong noticed a woman scolding the girl there and asking if she even knew how to sell and she was an idiot. The woman shouted at Li Mia and asked her why she said that they didn't have her size and why then do they need a clothing store at all. Li Mia asked the woman for forgiveness and said that they really don't have her size, but they can make it to order if she chooses clothes. The woman asked Li Mia what she was trying to say with this and maybe she thinks that she is fat and what is she constantly hinting at to the guest. But Li Mia was surprised and told the woman that she was not hinting at anything and she misunderstood her because she respects all people. But at that very second, Yi Hong suddenly threw his movie ticket next to the woman and wanted her to shut up and not yell at Li. Yi Hong told the woman that the girl clearly said that there are no such sizes and received a point from the system for the accuracy of the throw now. The woman was furious and asked Yi Hong who he was to interfere in her affairs and where he came from and what he needed from her. Yi Hong told the woman that people say they don't have her size and it's not the fault of any sellers that she doesn't control her weight. The woman asked the store manager to come there and asked who these employees were and how dare they attack an innocent lady. The manager approached the woman and asked to forgive them for all the obvious inconveniences and he did not know that his employees could be rude to their client. The manager asked Li Mia how many times he told her that their client is a god and how can she do something that insults an innocent lady. And then the manager harshly told Li Mia that today he would not pay her and she asked the manager to let him explain everything and this is a lie. Yi Hong asked the manager why not help his people and this lady creates problems and he rushes at his salesman there. The manager asked Yi Hong what he even knew and said that this woman was their VIP client and is their worthless employee worth it? But Yi Hong told the manager that if he doesn't care about his people, then let Li Mia work for him and he wants to take her away from there. The manager asked student Yi Hong what he could offer Li Mia and said that their salary is the best in Anming County and everyone knows it. Yi Hong told his friend Li Mia that he would pay her twice as much as there and she could definitely quit right now. Yi Hong continued to stand in the store and sort things out with this stupid manager and thought that he didn't think that he was so stupid. Jang Shu at that time was standing on the street and waiting for Yi Hong and thought that he went to get drinks and where did he disappear and he was nowhere to be seen there. But then Jang Shu noticed that Yi Hong was standing in a clothing store and thought that he said that he would buy a drink but Hong would surprise her with a dress. Jang Shu walked into the store and wanted to ask Yi Hong something, but she noticed Li Mia hugging him and saying thank you to her friend. Li Mia thought that she would find a male friend and a new job already there in one day and she was overwhelmed with joy and she told him thank you for everything. The manager told Yi Hong that he was this girl's boyfriend and the hero was found there and thought that he could barely hold on and would now start crying there. But suddenly someone asked the manager if this girl should leave already and the manager saw Miss Chin behind him and he froze. Miss Chin looked at the manager and thought that he seemed to have no idea what he was doing and she had not visited this store of hers for a long time. Unexpectedly, Miss Chin slapped the manager in the face and asked how he communicates with their clients, and now she has already understood a lot. Miss Chin turned and asked Yi Hong if he was the manager of this cafe and she had heard a lot of rumors about this place from friends. Miss Chin came close to Yi Hong and he thought that it looked like he was also in for trouble because he realized that she was a very serious girl. But when no one expected this, Miss Chin hugged Yi Hong tightly and said that it was so cute and she liked the way the guy ran his business. Miss Chin continued to hug Yi Hong and the manager and other people were shocked and did not understand who Yi Hong was and how did he know Chin. Miss Chin asked Yi Hong to forgive her and said that she was just glad that she met him and he said that there was no problem but who is she? She said that her name is Chin Hongshan and she is the CEO of Marigold and Mr. Choi always reminds of Yi Hong in their meetings. Chin Hongshan told Yi Hong that she was very interested in him and working together and he asked her for one favor before their business. Chin Hongshan asked the manager to cancel the VIP status of all these clients and blacklist them and prohibit them from visiting their store. The woman asked the manager not to even dare to do this and she herself spent a lot of money to get VIP status and this is simply absurd. The manager told the woman that he would follow all the instructions so that Miss Hongshan would like them there and that compared to this, her VIP status. Qin Hongshan remembered what she wanted to do and told the manager to quickly get out of the store along with the VIP clients, and she was waiting. Qin Hongshan asked Mr. Manager Yi Hong what he himself thought about this and let them take revenge for his girlfriend now. Yi Hong told Qin Hongshan that she is older than him so she can call Yi Hong, and with this girl they are just friends, but he always helps. And then someone asked his mother to buy him a cola, and suddenly Yi Hong immediately remembered the cola and realized that he had completely forgotten about Jang Shu there. Yi Hong quickly ran out of the store and told Miss Qin Hongshan that he needed to go urgently and they would talk about partnership with her later. Qin Hongshan thought that she never expected that such a very young prey would be so interesting, and she was very intrigued. Yi Hong left the store and started looking for Zhang Xue and realized that she had already left and tomorrow he would be scolded very much and he deserved it. And then Zhang Xue wrote a message to Yi Hong and said that her mother called her home and said that she needed to help her with something. Yi Hong read Zhang Xue's message and realized that it looks like he will get it at school tomorrow and it is better for him not to even go there to protect him. Yi Hong arrived in the area and thought that he was almost home, and what a hell of a day it was today, and he should have a good rest tonight. Yi Hong wondered why the light was on there and who could it be there at such a late time, and he was interested in finding out the whole matter right now. Yi Hong began to listen to the man's conversation and received a point from the system for sharpening his hearing and thought maybe this was a person from another establishment. A man in black clothes was talking to someone and told him to get to work, and the accomplice agreed with him and said that he understood all this. The man immediately jumped high to the top of the wall and ran there to carry out the guy's order and realized that he could handle things. But suddenly the guy noticed that someone grabbed his hand and he couldn't understand who wanted to attack him, and did someone really understand the whole plan? The guy wanted to hit Yi Hong, but he deftly dodged his blow and realized that thanks to the system, his fighting skills are developing quickly. Yi Hong firmly grabbed the guy's second hand and received a point from his system for successful defense and evasion, and he had clear progress. Yi Hong kicked the guy and knocked him to the ground and wanted to ask him a couple of questions and find out what he was doing there, and it intrigued him so much. Yi Hong pinned the guy and received a bonus from the system for capturing his opponent and realized that now the enemy would definitely not be able to escape anywhere. Yi Hong told the guy that he knew that it was he Leng and only he could do all this, and now he needs an explanation of what he is doing. Leng was very surprised and asked Yi Hong if it was him, and he didn't believe his eyes and didn't expect to see him there at night, and he caught. The guy asked Yi Hong why he attacked him, and Yi Hong told him that he was a security guard who was trying to sell information about food. But the guy asked the mister not to be nervous, and he really doesn't sell information about his dishes at all, and it looks like he's very mistaken. And at that very second, Yi Hong quickly took out a piece of paper from the guy's pocket and thought that it seemed like all the information was written there, and he knew it. Yi Hong let go of the guy and began to read what was written on the paper and immediately realized that he was 100% right and this guy was lying to him. Yi Hong asked the guy if he could explain to him the contents of his piece of paper, and he was interested in knowing from him what was written there. The guy started to get nervous, and Yi Hong said that if he has something to say, he can talk and he will listen and will not interrupt him. The guy said that the girl in the photo is his wife and she immediately disappeared after contacting the Mononoke factory, and he is looking for her. The guy told Hong that he found out that this factory is located in this city of Ammon and he got a job there to find clues. The guy told Yi Hong that if he doesn't trust him, he will leave his establishment tonight and he won't have any problems with him. But Yi Hong shouted to the guy and asked him who allowed him to leave, and he wants to ask him all the questions and talk because he is his friend. Yi Hong told the guy that he is his important employee and if he needs him so much for his business, then he will do everything in his power to help his brother. The guy was happy and told Mr. Manager thanks for his help and he will never forget about it and will help him with the whole matter too. The guy told Yi Hong that by the way, Mr. Sai was waiting for him at the cafe and he was happy to try his dish again and wanted to chat there. Afterwards, Yi Hong went into the cafe and saw that Mr. Sai was sitting there and he was really waiting for him and he had to go up to him and ask him everything. Yi Hong apologized to Uncle Sai for keeping him waiting and asked what made him come to him so late and what was the matter. Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that he should listen to him carefully and he has an important request and he hopes that he will not refuse his friend. Yi Hong thought that he didn't expect that Uncle Sai's house would be at the very top of the hill, and he remembered what Grandpa Sai told him about this. Yi Hong realized that this house of the Sai family is guarded by serious security and they will never let any disturber of the family into the house. Yi Hong thought that Ser was already fine and that he forgot there, but he can't just leave because he needs to listen to Uncle Sai's request. Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that after the incident with the cellar, he had already left Ser at home, but this is not a final decision and he thinks. And at that moment, Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that he wanted him to accompany Ser to school and be her guardian and then he would be happy. Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that the last time Sa-Rei met her father recently, there was a bodyguard on duty with them. But Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that for some reason he suspects that there is a traitor and he and his father can only trust him and he is not lying to him. Yi Hong told Uncle Sai that he had helped him so much and it was time to repay the debt and he would not allow anything to happen to Ser now. The next morning, Yi Hong was waiting for Ser near her school and thought that her brother would protect her from any dangers and would not let her be offended. The guard said good afternoon to Minister Kai and thought that she was a very influential girl and everyone respected her and she had authority. Ser asked Yi Hong's brother if he liked her new dress and she spent a long time choosing it and really likes it because it's beautiful. Minister Kai told Yi Hong that today Ser is in his hands and she asked him to make sure that everything is in order and her health is important. Yi Hong told Saira that she looks good in everything and he loves her very much and will always take care of her because he is Saira's best friend. Yi Hong told Minister Kai that he understood her and told Ser that they should go otherwise they might be late and they don't need all this at all. Yi Hong was walking with Ser and they were having fun and she was so happy and thought that her brother was looking after her well. Ser played with Yi Hong and sculpted figures from plasticine and she was glad that no one forbids her to do this and listens to her words. Saira really liked her new dress and danced in it, and Yi Hong was always next to her and looked in all directions to protect her. And in the evening they returned home and Ser told Yi Hong that it was the happiest day of the year and whether her brother would take her to school tomorrow. Yi Hong told sister Saira that of course tomorrow he will take her to school and now he will always be with her and will help her with any matter. Yi Hong approached the guard and asked if they really wanted to take Ser there for the night and why the plans had changed and it was so strange. The guard said that the gentleman had something to do there tonight and they should escort the little lady to the mountain to her family. Yi Hong was surprised and looked at Ser, but she continued to look at him without stopping and didn't want her brother to leave there now. Yi Hong asked the guards if in this case he could take Ser home and he promised that nothing would happen to her and that he was her support. Saira was very happy and said that her brother would stay the night and she would play with him and Saira would definitely not be bored in the house. The guards looked at each other and thought that it seems that everything is not going according to their plan and they must come up with another way to do this. The guards opened the door to the house and Yi Hong thought that he thinks that there are dangers everywhere and he should always keep an eye on Ser and she is cute. Yi Hong looked at the guards and thought where this unpleasant feeling came from and it seems his intuition wants to tell him something now. And suddenly at that same second Yi Hong noticed a man's legs in the grass and realized that he was passed out and noticed the danger and he developed a reaction. Yi Hong asked Mr. Security Guard why now he looks different than in the morning and it's so strange and can he explain it to them. The guard told Yi Hong that he didn't like curious children with sharp reflexes and wanted to get rid of such children quickly. And at that very second, the guard started shooting at Ser and Yi Hong. But Yi quickly dodged the bullets and ran to Ser to protect her there. The guard continued to shoot at Yi Hong and couldn't hit him and told him to stand still and not move or else there would be trouble. But at that moment the guard's partner shook something in front of his friend and he realized that the drag was right and that's the only way to catch Yi Hong. The killer smiled and told his partner that he was right and no one could get past them and they would catch any person and quickly punish. The killers threw these bottles to the ground and broke them and realized that Yi Hong had made a mistake and now he would beg them for mercy now. And then the killers turned into monsters and told each other that the hunt had already begun and now they would find where the impudent Yi Hong was hiding. Yi Hong was hiding behind the trees at that time and Ser asked Yi Hong's brother if he was in pain because he was shot at by very angry guards. Yi Hong said that as long as Ser is not injured everything is fine and he will call Uncle Sai and tell him what is happening and thought that he had a stomach ache. Yi Hong looked at the phone and was very upset and realized that he and Ser were not in the network coverage area and would not be able to call her father now. Yi Hong told Saira that it looks like they will have to get out of there on their own and they can rely on each other for help in this trouble. But Ser started clapping and told brother Yi Hong that Ser knew another place and she could show the way and lead them out soon. But suddenly guards appeared behind them and asked them if they really wanted to escape, but they couldn't do it, and they found. The killer told Yi Hong that if he gives the girl he will save his life, and Yi Hong thought why the two looked different again. Ser started teasing the killers and Yi Hong quickly ran with her and told the killer that only an idiot would believe his lies. The killer said that Yi Hong can run further, and the more hope they have for salvation, the greater the despair then, and these are facts. The partner told the killer that they would not waste time and would quickly finish them off, otherwise the boss would again complain about all of them. The killer told Yi Hong that he senses them and will soon catch them, and they will not be able to escape from him because no one has ever managed to escape. Yi Hong thought why he has such a strong feeling of persecution, and he is sick of all this and needs to find a place to hide. Yi Hong jumped high into a tree and received a point from the system for his jump to a great height, and there he could hide from the freaks. Yi Hong and Ser were sitting on a tree, and below the killer was looking for them, and they both hoped that this monster did not see them and would not be able to attack them. But suddenly at that very second the killer looked up and saw Ser and Yi Hong there and realized that they had not run far and he would catch them. The killer broke a tree branch with one blow, and Yi Hong continued to run from him and received a reward from the system for evading the attack of their enemy. The killer told Yi Hong that he could run to the ends of the earth, but he would still catch him and he would not be able to hide anywhere from their fate. But Yi Hong didn't listen to the killer and started running in different directions with Ser and thought that he would still run away from these people and it wouldn't matter. The killer rushed towards Yi Hong and asked if he still hoped that he could escape, and said that he was a dead man and he would not let him live. But suddenly at this moment, Yi Hong accidentally released his gases into this killer and thought that he didn't mean to do this and he was sorry. The killer began to choke on this smell and fell to the ground and could no longer pursue Yi Hong and thought that this smell could kill. Yi Hong asked Ser if it really smelled that bad, and even the monster couldn't stand the smell and it looks like it's a terrible weapon. Yi Hong tied up the killer and thought that nothing was good and there was one more big guy left who would probably soon find them there. And on the radio, General He was asked if he could hear him and asked him to head there only after making sure that he would catch Sayer, and that was the goal. Yi Hong heard this and realized that more people were approaching there and he and Sayer needed to get out of there if they didn't want problems with the enemy. But Yi Hong said that he still has a grudge against these people and will try to take revenge on them all for wanting to steal Sayer. The killer's partner was looking for a friend at that time and said that his friend's signal was showing there and he was wondering where he was and he had disappeared. Yi Hong at that time tied the killer up and tied him to a tree, and he immediately asked the big man if he was really looking for his partner, and he was there. The killer was furious and told Yi Hong that if he harmed his brother there he would finish him off, and rushed towards him and wanted to hit the enemy. But on the way, the killer stepped on the canvas with which Yi Hong covered this land and thought that everything was going according to plan, and now he needs patience. And at that very second the killer fell into Yi Hong's trap, and he was glad and said that the scoundrel fell into his trap and did not understand any trick. But the killer immediately jumped out of the hole and told Yi Hong that this was just a little trick and there was no need to dig this hole so shallowly. The killer began to attack Yi Hong, and Yi received a bonus from the system for blocking the attack and dodging, and realized that his reaction had become better. The killer continued to run angrily towards Yi Hong and wanted to hurt him there so that he would understand that he had hurt his brother in vain. The killer was breaking all the trees, and Yi Hong realized that this guy had too much energy and he had to figure out how to neutralize him and defeat him. Yi Hong realized that he couldn't let the killer hit the tree where Sayer was already sitting, and he would protect her because she could get hurt by the killer. Yi Hong stopped and thought that he would lure the killer to him and he would understand what he could do with his strength and power and how to weaken him. The strong killer rushed to Yi Hong and said that he himself refused mercy and now he can no longer hope that someone will save him in their battle. But suddenly Yi Hong grabbed the killer's hand and received a point from the system for direct collision and holding back the pain and protecting from the blow. The killer began to get even more angry at Yi Hong and said that he was still a scoundrel and now he would not be able to defend himself from his blow and he would get. But Yi Hong again withstood the killer's blow and he was in pain, but he did not show the pain and thought that this way he could defeat him now. Yi Hong told the killer that now it was his turn and he should try his best to defend himself from his blows and he would try to surprise him and beat him up. Yi Hong dealt a powerful blow to the killer and he began to fly a couple of meters away because Yi Hong's blow was very strong and he felt it. Yi Hong began to fly towards the strong guy with blows, and he was so surprised and wondered if he really had any strength left to attack. The strong killer began to defend himself and realized that Yi Hong was powerful and he could hit him very hard, and thought that he did not expect this. The killer was still waiting for Yi Hong to strike and wondered if it was a bluff and he had deceived him and only wanted to scare him to distract him from their mission. But at that very second, Yi Hong dealt a powerful blow to the killer and he realized that he was able to outwit him and hit his body, and his defense was weak. The killer lay on the ground and could no longer move, and Yi Hong realized that he had shut up this scoundrel who wanted to steal with his brother Ser. Yi Hong was surprised. He didn't think that his body would withstand the system's improvements and be able to use his skills on this killer, and it's a shock. Yi Hong was very tired and sat down on the ground, and Ser came down from the tree and she asked Yi Hong if he was okay, and it looked like he was very tired there. Ser noticed that something was glowing in the bushes and realized that Yi Hong's brother was in danger and she had to help him like he helped his sister. And at that moment, Ser pushed brother Yi Hong and they fell to the ground together and thought that danger was still threatening them, and it was so dangerous. Yi Hong noticed that the bullet hit Ser and he asked her how she was feeling, and he was very worried about her and wanted to save her quickly. Yi Hong told Syra that it was his fault and he didn't look around, and now he let her get hurt and he was sorry that she was hurt and he didn't follow up. Syra told Yi Hong that she was glad that Yi Hong's brother was okay and Syra was not in pain at all, and thought that she also wanted to protect Ye. And at that moment the bullet began to fly straight to Yi Hong's head, and Ser already thought that her brother would not be able to dodge the bullet and seemed doomed. But suddenly Yi Hong caught the bullet with his own hands and was furious and told the man who shot that everything would be over with him now. The shooter thought, did Yi Hong really notice him, and thought that how is this possible and how was he able to catch the bullet with his bare hands, and it's all a shock. The killer thought that he needed to get out of there faster, but Yi Hong appeared next to him and he swung and wanted to beat this shooter. Yi Hong hit the killer in the face and the man realized that he didn't even notice that Yi Hong approached him, and when did he manage to approach him like that? The killer flew into the distance and broke a tree along the way, and Yi Hong realized there that now he would take revenge on everyone and how they dared to shoot. The killer sat on the ground and thought where this schoolboy got such powerful strength and how he was able to get it with his fist, and this is a gift. And then Ding Ding appeared in front of Yi Hong and told him that his body was exhausted and if he continued to waste energy it would be dangerous. But Yi Hong was angry and didn't listen to Ting Ting at all and pushed him aside and thought that he should finish his job and take revenge. The killer started shooting at Yi Hong and said that he must die and how dare he threaten them, and now he will not get out alive. Yi Hong continued to deflect all the bullets with his hand and thought that the villain would not be able to hit him, and he thought that all these bullets were useless. The killer was horrified and asked Yi Hong to stay away from him and said that he was crazy and why didn't he stop, and he was coming to him. Yi Hong told the killer that he failed for only one reason and said that there was no need to provoke him and it was a mistake. And at that moment, Yi Hong began to strike hundreds of blows at the killer and he wanted this man to feel the pain that Ser inflicted. But suddenly at that second Yi Hong realized that there was something wrong with his body and he should have listened to Ting Ding and not contradicted him. Yi Hong held his head and said that his body was torn from pain and it seemed like he had no strength left and he was exhausted and it hurt. Yi Hong fell to the ground and Ser asked his brother if he was okay, and he told his sister that she was heavy and asked her to give him a break. But then a woman appeared behind Ser and Yi Hong could not understand who this woman was and why she had come there now and what she needed from them. The woman began to take Ser with her, and Yi Hong began to lose consciousness at this time and realized that he could not help his sister there. And after a while, Yi Hong suddenly woke up and called Ser and wanted to urgently make sure that everything was okay with her and who took her with them and where she was. The guy told Mr. Sai that Yi Hong had woken up and he could already talk to him and ask him what he wanted to ask his friend. Mr. Sai came into the room and Yi Hong asked his uncle if everything was okay with Ser now, and he lost consciousness then and could not find out. Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that when he found him, Ser was no longer with him and wondered what happened to them and who attacked them. Yi Hong told Mr. Sai that it was his fault and he didn't keep an eye on her, and now no one knows what happened to his sweet sister Ser and who took her. Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that he couldn't blame him and he never thought that they would send someone so dangerous for the mission. Mr. Sai asked Yi Hong if he saw someone before he lost consciousness when Ser was still next to him in this place. Yi Hong told Mr. Sai that he remembers everything vaguely, but he remembers the silhouette and thinks that it was a woman and she took Sair with her. But then suddenly some guy told Master Sai that it was very difficult, but he found their shelter and now he can take a look for himself. They all went out into the corridor and wanted to ask the guy what he had learned about this gang and where they were hiding, and they would deal with them all together. Yi Hong saw a guy there and asked Uncle Sai who it was, and last time he seemed to have seen this man but doesn't know who he is or what he's doing. Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that it was Shifu Chong who was giving them information about the Dream Factory to Lungban, and his Shifu is an excellent detective. Uncle Sai told Yi Hong that he is not like his peer, but Shifu is a true disciple of the 8 Tiger Gate and he secretly communicated with Leng. Shifu Chong said that the information was received from the people who were captured by Yi Hong and they are setting up a temporary branch in the warehouse in Min. Shifu Chong asked to evacuate in Ming County this evening, and it seems that Ms. Sair is there and they can find her alive. Shifu Chong said that time is running out and he will go there with his friend Lin Guangfeng and save Sair and find out everything about Miss Long Xiaoyun too. Mr. Sai told Shifu Chong that he was counting on him, and Yi Hong said that he would also help save Sair because this happened to them. But Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that he had just woken up and was still weak and he couldn't let him risk his life anymore. Yi Hong told Mr. Sai that he was almost back to normal and it would be worse if he felt guilty and didn't bring Sister Sair back there. Mr. Sai agreed with Yi Hong and said that then only the 3 of them should return Sair safe and sound and punish their enemies. And at night, Yi Hong and the others came to the enemy's warehouse and thought that they should be careful because most likely the enemies were waiting for them. They noticed that this barn was guarded by a lot of people and they all had to come up with a plan so that these people would not notice their surveillance there. Shifu Chong told Lin Guangfeng that he would go to the roof and check the area and they would go down but should be very careful there. Lin Guangfeng told Shifu Chong that she would take care of the bottom floor there, and Yi Hong asked Shifu how he wanted to go up to their roof. Lin Guangfeng told Yi Hong that he should not underestimate his friend Shifu Chong and that he has the ancient martial arts of the Yen Kingdom in his arsenal. Shifu Chong rushed in this direction and thought that he believed in the skills and knew that they could save Sair and he would do everything in his brother's power. Shifu Chong climbed the wall and Leng said that this level is 8 steps and they allow you to be light and fly over walls. Yi Hong thought that the ancient martial art and all the stages and realized that this skill could also help him a lot in fighting enemies there. Yi Hong closed his eyes and began to imagine the same ancient martial art of the Yen Kingdom and realized that these were honed skills. Yi Hong opened his eyes and the system began to decipher the details of all the target's movements to master the ancient martial art of Yen now. Lin Guangfeng was surprised and asked Yi Hong if he wanted to try it there now, because ancient martial arts are clearly not a joke. But Yi Hong told Lin Guangfeng that if he doesn't try, he won't learn anything, and in life you always need to take risks and then there will be success in business. And suddenly at that moment Yi Hong began to run along the wall as Shifu Chong, and Lin Guangfeng was in shock and could not understand how this was possible. Yi Hong climbed to the roof in a couple of seconds and realized that it was so easy, and even though he was a beginner, he was learning quickly and would soon surpass his teacher. Yi Hong heard the lady tell Mr. that he would not threaten her, and why did they bring human experiments back to the headquarters? Yi Hong looked there to see who was saying such things and was already in complete shock and thought, is it really Secretary Choi, and who is this lady? The girl wondered if she thought she just heard Yi Hong's voice, and is she really paranoid and doesn't know what's going on? The Mr. told the girl that now is evacuation time and they cannot afford to make a mistake and should remain vigilant. Lin Guangfeng was fighting with the enemies at that time and thought how they could know that they had come there, and it seemed like they had noticed them and that was their problem. Shifu Chong also fought with everyone and told Lin Guangfeng that they didn't have much time and they had to quickly find Lady Sair and save her. Shifu Chong asked Yi Hong if he found Sair and they were noticed, and he asked Secretary Kai to return Sair and he would not harm her there. Secretary Kai said that if you leave Sair in this place, it will become an experiment for the Dream Factory and he will return her to her friend Yi Hong there. Yi Hong was in complete shock and wondered if Secretary Kai agreed with him so quickly, and he thought that they would fight with the lady. Yi Hong agreed with Miss Kai but said that when it was all over she would explain to them, and many enemies immediately began to run towards him. And then suddenly a huge guy appeared in front of Yi Hong and told his colleagues that they could not defeat the baby, and it was funny. The giant guy told the Yi Hong puppy that now he will teach him a lesson and he will understand that now he will not be able to do anything to him. But suddenly at that very second Yi Hong hit the guy in the face and his enemy did not expect this because he continued to tell him that he was scary. The giant guy fell to the floor and Yi Hong said that they don't have time for this and the others are waiting for him downstairs and they should quickly go there. Miss Kai noticed that her enemies had explosives and realized that they could blow up this place if they did not stop these scoundrels. Miss Kai wondered if these people really wanted to blow up the factory and she realized that she had to detain them and they would not be able to do it there. Kai gave Ser into Yi Hong's hands and said that she would leave her and she had business to do and they would meet him when she finished her business there. Miss Kai quickly ran to the man with the explosives and Yi Hong asked her to wait a minute and he should discuss something with her now. Yi Hong kicked two enemies and realized that these people were just crazy and he hoped that Secretary Kai was okay and alive there. Yi Hong told Lin Quanfeng that Ser was saved and their mission was definitely completed and they could go back home and make their uncle happy. Yi Hong jumped down and told his friends that they should leave and they shouldn't linger there because people can invite their friends there. Yi Hong landed down and dealt with all the enemies below and the system gave him a reward for the power that came down from the heavens and that's cool. Lin Quanfeng asked Yi Hong if Secretary Kai is not with him and this factory will soon explode and they should all leave quickly. Yi Hong was surprised and asked Lin Quanfeng if this factory was about to explode and he didn't know about it and asked how he knew about everything. All the friends went outside and looked at the factory and Yi Hong told them that Secretary Kai stayed there and he doesn't know why she decided so. And at that same second there was a huge explosion and all the friends were there in complete shock and thought that the explosion had happened anyway and loudly. Yi Hong wondered if Secretary Kai had returned to try to stop the explosion and why did she risk herself now. Afterwards, they arrived at the Tsai family's house and Mr. Tsai asked Yi Hong not to blame himself and maybe Secretary Kai didn't want to face it. Mr. Tsai told Yi Hong that by the way he has to go back to school for exams in the next couple of days and he has a surprise for him. Yi Hong realized that he was not there for a couple of days and he forgot to explain everything to Jang Shu why he did not go to her that day and this is a tragedy. The next morning, Yi Hong came to school and thought that finally Ser's matter had come to an end and after everything, her father would take care of her. But suddenly at that moment someone crashed into Yi Hong on a bike and he couldn't expect this because he was walking on the grounds of his school there. Yi Hong was furious and asked the bastard why his motorcycle was knocking people down there and how he could explain all this to him because he had fallen. The girl took off her helmet and Yi Hong was surprised because he thought it was a man and wanted to yell at him and he was a little embarrassed by her. The girl told Yi Hong that it was he himself standing in the middle of the road right in her path and why does he blame her for everything because he himself is to blame now. Yi Hong told the girl that transport on the school grounds has long been prohibited and you can't drive there, and doesn't she really know about all this? The girl told Yi Hong that when she lived in Egret City, she always went to school without any problems and no one stopped her from doing so. There was a murderous atmosphere there now and Yi Hong told the girl that she was now in Yasmin County and all these rules did not apply there. The girl pushed her in anger and asked the arrogant student maybe he was trying to control her and he wouldn't succeed for sure. And then an officer approached them and asked what was happening there and why they were in conflict and asked them to explain to him everything that happened there. The officer made a deep bow and asked Ms. Kong if she needed help now and he was ready to do everything to make her happy there. Miss Kong asked the officer to keep an eye on the students of this outback and they do not let her drive and tell her that she cannot ride a bike. The guard was furious and told Yi Hong that this girl was from an important family and asked if he could leave Miss behind otherwise there would be problems. But in response to the guard's words, Yi Hong only grinned in his face and thought that he had never seen such a weak person like him. But suddenly the guard asked if he was Yi Hong, Mr. Tsai's friend, and it's understandable why he didn't recognize him, because the guy had become very handsome. Miss Kong was angry and asked the guard if he didn't want to help her teach the impudent man a lesson and he embarrassed her in front of his student. The officer told Miss Kong that they enforce discipline at Chi Choi's school and she cannot ride a bike there regardless of her status. The officer fell to the ground and Miss Kong said that they were idiots and they were all the same and she hated them and he didn't deserve respect. Miss Kong told Yi Hong that if it weren't for the wedding, she would never have gone to this Sharaga and would never have studied with such scum of their society. Yi Hong asked the officer who she was, and the officer said that he didn't know much about her and her name was Kong Yu and she was a child from a famous family. The officer told Yi Hong that Kong Yu's family lives in Egret City but their Yasmin County is quite far from there and someone took Hong with them. The officer turned around and didn't notice Yi Hong next to him and was very surprised and wondered where he had gone because now he was standing there with him. Yi Hong went into the library and was dragged away by Jang Shu, and he was most afraid of meeting her now because it was so dangerous. Jang Shu told Yi Hong that a lot of time had passed and he was so surprised and knew that he was guilty and would not be able to atone for his guilt there. Yi Hong thought that he was definitely finished and could not be put off and he should already tell Jang Shu everything that happened so that she would understand him. Jang Shu tied up Yi Hong and he tried to free himself and told his sweet Jang Shu that she should listen to him and he would tell the truth. But suddenly at that moment Yi Hong slipped and realized that it was a disaster and he had lost his balance and would soon fall and be in pain there. Yi Hong began to fall directly on Jang Shu and thought that it was in vain that he moved so much there and did not watch his legs and it was definitely his mistake. Yi Hong fell on Jang Shu with a roar and it was heard throughout the entire library there and all the people were very surprised to hear the roar. Jiqi went into the office and asked why it was so noisy there and said that there should be silence in the library and which of them broke the silence. But at that moment, Jiqi noticed Yi Hong there who was lying on the floor with Jang Shu and he wanted to get up and this really shocked Jiqi now. Ziki started screaming and thought that she didn't expect this from Yi Hong's friend and what did he do there and this is a very bad thing and she is against it. Ziki couldn't believe her eyes and realized that she had better get out of there and not interfere with Yi Hong with his affairs and that would be the right thing to do. Ziki asked for forgiveness and left the library, closing the door and Yi Hong told Sister Ziki that it was a misunderstanding and she did not understand them. Yi Hong asked Jang Shu to also say something about this and convince Sister Ziki that this was an accident and the two of them were not lovers. But Yi Hong saw that Jang Shu closed her eyes in embarrassment and no longer wanted to say anything or comment on this ridiculous incident with her. Afterwards, they all gathered at one table to explain this whole situation, and Ziki and Li Mia wanted to know what happened there now. Jang Shu laughed and told Yi Hong that she didn't know that things could be like this and she thought that Yi Hong and Li Mia were dating and in love. Ziki thought that again this gossip and all the problems were because of them and Jang Shu told her that there was nothing and she didn't have to worry about it. But suddenly Li Mia told Jang Shu that she was right because now she is with Yi Hong every evening and she assumed correctly. Jang Shu asked Yi Hong what this meant and asked her to explain it all to her, otherwise she would be obliged to take action against him herself. Yi Hong told Jang Shu that this is not what she thought and Mia just works at his cafe and Ziki is also helping and she will confirm. Jang Shu asked Yi Hong what he was talking about and she thought that what he said was wrong because it is the complete truth and there is no need for him to lie to her now. But Jang Shu told Yi Hong that she also wanted to work for him and why didn't he offer only her to work in his establishment now. Li Mia asked Jang Shu if her mother would allow her to work there part-time now and sooner or later Hong would be her boyfriend. But Jang Shu told Li Mia that it doesn't matter because she received her first kiss from Yi Hong not long ago and she is still the second. Li Mia was shocked to hear this news from Jang Shu and asked when she managed to get her first kiss from Yi Hong and it's not fair. Li Mia wanted to ask Yi Hong something, but she noticed that he was not next to her and she could not understand where he had gone and what happened to him. Jang Shu remembered that the first kiss she received was from Yi Hong when he fell on her, but she had to tell Li Mia. Yi Hong at this time quietly went out into the corridor and thought that all these women were so creepy and he had better go home from there quickly. And at the entrance to the cafe, Yi Hong noticed a crowd of people and thought that he himself had just returned from school and what kind of commotion was this and what did they need. And then an elite car arrived next to the cafe and Hong thought, isn't this the latest sports car and this is a very beautiful car. Yi Hong thought that he saw this in real life for the first time and it's worth it and it seems to be the best way to pick up girls in a car. Yi Hong walked into a cafe and noticed that Mr. Sai was sitting there and thought maybe he had business for him and wanted to ask him for a favor. But Mr. Sai stood up and asked Yi Hong to guess what surprise he had prepared for him and it looks like he will never guess it and he is confident in it. Yi Hong began to think about what kind of surprise Sai could have prepared for him and a person like him should have surprised him and he knows it for sure. Suddenly Yi Hong understood and asked Mr. Sai if the surprise is that sports car and doors, and he can't believe it and he's in a dream. But Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that this is not a car and he has something better than a sports car, and now he will understand what his surprise is. And then Mr. Sai told Yi Hong that his surprise for his best friend was a luxurious trip around the world, and Yi Hong was very surprised now. The next morning, Yi Hong came to the cruise ship and he was so tired and told the girls that the three of them had too much luggage for everything. Jang Shu told Yi Hong that he said that they were traveling for a long time so they would need a lot of clothes, and she thought about it in advance. Li Mia told Jang Shu that she was right, and she told Yi Hong that he is the only guy and thank you for helping them all always. Ziki told Yi Hong that she didn't have much luggage and she didn't want to burden him and knew that it would be difficult for him to carry all their luggage. Yi Hong thought that he invited them all and they all agreed so easily, and thought that he didn't think that they wanted to go there with him so much. The man took all the bags from Yi Hong and he said thank you and realized that he felt so much better and now he can take a break from all these things. Friends began to climb on board and the girls thought that they were so lucky to have such a good friend as Yi Hong, and he helped them. Friends realized that now they have nothing to worry about and they can go on a trip with everyone, because not every day there is a chance. Yi Hong told his friends that the time for adventure has come and they are ready, and now they will go on a journey and will not think about problems. The liner began to sail and all the people were glad that now they would find their rooms there and watch the magnificent view there. Zhang Shuai decided to swim in the pool and Yi Hong began to prepare a camera to photograph all this miracle for his memories. Ziki asked Yi Hong if they could repeat the scene from the movie Titanic, and she had long dreamed of this and he agreed with her friend. But Zhang Shuai and Li Mia asked Jiqi to stand and she realized that she had an idea and they could do it but differently if Hong was ready. Yi Hong held all three girls in his arms and they repeated the scene from the movie Titanic and realized that it was so beautiful and they were all happy. Yi Hong saw the shore and told his friends that they were almost at the first stop and this was a beautiful place and they would explore it with their friends. Friends realized that in this place they would have fun and they would play and no one would sit on the sidelines, and watched how they had fun together. The friends took off their clothes and said that this was the beach and there they would sunbathe together in the sun, because they had always studied and worked all year. Zhang Shuai and Li Mia were playing volleyball and thought that they never thought that they would not compete and become friends. Ziki closed her eyes and said that she didn't understand where the watermelon was, and Zhang Shuai said that over there she could hit that watermelon. Yi Hong applied sunscreen to Li Mia's back and Zhang Shuai told him that she wanted it too and asked him to leave some cream for her. Yi Hong was cooking kebabs on the grill and all the girls were delighted with his dishes and said that his signature meat was a wonderful dish. Friends met the dawn together and Yi Hong realized that it was good that he invited all his friends to get together and it was so incredible. Yi Hong said that this is a great opportunity and invited all friends to form together as a souvenir to remember later. The girls agreed with Yi Hong and ran to him to find the right angle so that the photo would turn out great and they were all beautiful. Yi Hong set up the camera and realized that he himself would take pictures of them there and they should hurry up and stand together closer to each other in the sand. Yi Hong told the girls that he was already running and they should wait for him and realized that he should have time to enter the photo with his friends. But suddenly Yi Hong stumbled and thought why he falls so often and everywhere and can never keep his balance, and this is his problem. And at that very second the camera clicked and took a photo and all the friends could not prepare themselves so that the photo would turn out perfect for them. Yi Hong fell right on top of his friends and they said that Yi Hong is still a pervert and a womanizer and in all these days he has not changed at all.